Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is BMT coming at you again, alongside with my co-host Nichelle, as you already know her as Attorney Nichelle Foster. We're definitely here to have the conversation with you guys on something that I feel is very precedent to a lot of people's lives, that has been troubling them, bothering them, and even putting a lot of people's lives that probably in the that don't know. So we definitely are here to have the conversation, some stuff that is, right now being called to action in our country that I feel that we can address and definitely start to talk on. We ask y'all to do one thing. Please, first of all, be sensitive and come in respectful. Uh, Number two, definitely, we want to address that there are a lot of people out there that are suffering right now, people in pain, people that are right now have lost loved ones. And so, I definitely want to bring this to attention. We're definitely asking people to please share the message. If you are a denizen of Texas, you are more than welcome to come on up and talk with us, because we feel like we do not want your voices to go unheard on what's going on out there in Texas. There seems to be a lot of stuff that is happening that is being swept under the rug, and that's very scary. That's very scary for a lot of people, um, because a lot of people, this has caught them off guard. This has hurt a lot of families. There are people who are homeless, livestock are dead. Um, what I'm saying? I used to joke. I used to have a little joke about about the Lone Star State, being able to, and now I see it's just not even funny because right now these people are really just trying to get by, and they're right now just trying to say, hey, like we need help. Right now we have it where President Biden, as well as other people, are trying to just figure out, yo, how can we help these people? Um, they're taking a pretty bad hit, and this is serious. Um, so we're definitely here with Attorney Nichelle. She lives in Texas. She definitely keeps track of what's going on, and she's there. We don't have to guess. We don't have to guess or try to figure out the woulda, shoulda, couldas, or what might be happening, when we can ask people, what are they seeing right now? What are they dealing with right now? And this is something that honestly needs to be talked about.
Hey Joe, thank you for having me on,
Hey, what's going on?
everyone. It is a mess in Texas. It started with a simple lie and snowballed. The first lie was, we're all in this together. Please cut your thermostats down to 68 degrees. This follows less than a week after Texas made national news for a 100-car pileup because the Texas Department of Transportation had not properly salted the streets, knowing that we were at sub-freezing temperature.
Do you want me to show the car wreck?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Keep going. I'll pull it up.
Okay, the long and short of it is Texas is in certain parts very flat, in other parts it's what we call plateaus. They are flat hills. And when you exit off a flat hill, you're going on a slope. It's not necessarily a very steep hill, but it's a slope. And a lot of freeways are built along slopes. So you're going to have severe differences in the top of the plateau to the bottom of the plateau. This particular plateau was approximately 1 mile long. So once you came over the top of the plateau and started going down the slope, there was nothing but ice. There was no way to stop. 6 people lost their lives. There were over 100 cars. The pileup started before dawn, around 6:30 a.m. I personally witnessed a video of one gentleman going into the pileup, which at that point in time was about 10 cars. His car sparked into flames. Unfortunately, the gentleman got out of his car, and then an 18-wheeler came down that same slope and barreled into another car, and the gentleman lost his life. Some people lost their lives because they were trapped in their cars for 2 to 3 hours in extreme cold temperatures. So these are not things that people forgot to wear their seatbelts or they were driving too fast. This was the failure of the government to do simple things like if you can't get the ice, if you can't get that part of the highway salted, then close it down until you get it done. Make people find alternative routes. Once you get reports that there's a massive pileup at the end of the plateau, then guess what? You close all the entrance ramps and put vehicles at the top of the plateau so no one else can go down the plateau. That was not done. One of the things that in Texas, we have county sheriffs and police departments. So a lot of times things don't get done because they're battling over whose responsibility it is. We also have the Texas Highway Patrol, Lone Rangers. So there were a lot of jurisdictional issues as to who was actually responsible for what was going on in interstate highway. Now jump ahead until Sunday night when they pleasantly told us that we would experience rolling control blackouts so that everyone would be in this together. All houses would lose their electricity from 30 minutes to 45 minutes. All Texans said, okay, we can deal with that. We're all in this together. Around 10:30, I experienced the first of the rolling blackouts. And true to their word, the electricity came back on. Then around 1 o'clock, I experienced the second of the rolling blackouts. This one lasted almost an hour.
Michelle, do you think you could send me that video? I can't find it. Think you can send it to me again, or no?
Go to my webpage.
Okay, I'm going there right now.
If you have an extra computer, go to my webpage.
Okay, going there right now. Go ahead.
Okay, sorry. But this is my personal experience. Around 3 o'clock in the morning, when most people were asleep, the lights went out. When I woke up at 8 o'clock, there were no lights, no heat. Because even if you have gas, you need the electric blower to circulate it, blow it out of the vents. I immediately contacted Encore. It was like, okay, but the lights came on, so no big deal. Then around 10:30, the lights went out again. This time I'm contacting Encore. I'm going to stay on the line until I get an answer. They said the lights will be on at 3:30. Well, my house was warm. I'm a trooper. I got food I can eat without having to heat it up. My only regret was, hey, my coffee got cold. To make a long story short, the lights didn't come on until after 6 p.m. There were people outside in their cars, running their cars in order to charge their cell phone so they could connect with people because there was a sheer blanket of ice in the residential area. We couldn't get out. You could not get out of your house. And if you were fortunate enough to live in an area where you could or would venture out into the streets, the police were instructed, unless it was an emergency, you were ticketed for being outside your house Sunday night and Monday. So you have people that are stuck in their houses without electricity, unless you had stocked up on wood or had a generator with enough kerosene or gasoline to last several days. You literally were stranded in houses that got down to below 29 degrees. Pipes were bursting. People were dealing, right now there's a water shortage in Texas because some wonderful city planner decided to cut off the electricity at the water treatment plant. So if there's no electricity, the pumps don't work. The water is not clean, it's not purified. So even though the water is running, it has not been properly purified. So people in Texas are under a boil your water notice. Some people got smart. They put water in their bathtubs just in case the water mains broke. And the water mains started breaking this morning and yesterday. So places like Keller, which is outside of Dallas, Azle, Arlington, Fort Worth even, they cannot drink the water out of their faucets, even if they're getting water out of their faucets.
Right.
Arlington, Texas has about 450,000 people. None of those 450,000 people can drink the water out of the tap. And it's advised that you very careful if you take a shower, not to get the water in your nose or your mouth.
Jesus.
This is what we're dealing with poor city planning, county planning, state planning. As most of you know, Texas brags that they're not on a grid controlled by the federal government. 90% of Texas is on ERCOT. I think I'm saying it right. They're on the emergency, what is it? Emergency civil electric, whatever it is, it don't work. Let's just put it to you like that. They're blaming it on everything from green energy. Our wind turbines froze, whereas the wind turbines in Alaska, they didn't freeze up. And it's a lot colder in Alaska than it was in Texas, even though we got down to 7 degrees. They said, oh my goodness, the solar panels had ice on them. Well, maybe you should slant the solar panels so they're not flat on the ground. They can still get the evening sun. Rotate them. When I worked for Sterling Solar, our panels actually rotated to maximize the sun. And in the event that they needed to go up, if they needed to go horizontal or vertical, they could do it very easily. This was poor civil engineering planning. Just because it's normally hot in Texas does not mean it's always going to be hot in Texas. We do get ice and snow. This is a typical time for us to get ice and snow. At the end of January, beginning of February, everyone knows February is our real winter.
Right.
So they told us, oh, it's going to be, snow, it's going to be cold, Monday through Thursday. You guys, it's 4 days. It's okay. But some people have been without electricity for 38 hours already. 30 to 38 hours. People are driving by places like Six Flags over Texas. They have lights. Downtown Dallas is lit up like a Christmas tree. People in 5,000, 6,000, 8,000 square foot homes are not experiencing the same outages as the rest of us. Maybe they have city approved generators at their houses. But one of the things about the generators, the hospitals are overflowing with people with carbon monoxide poisoning because you cannot put the generator in your house or directly attached to the garage because that will come into your house. The carbon monoxide will come into your house if it's connected in the garage. Most people don't know that. That's why a lot of people are in the hospital right now. If you want to put it outside on a covered patio or build a little shed for it, that's fine, because that's not connected directly to your house. But if your generator is connected directly to your house, the fumes can go right up under the door. It goes under the doorway. Most of the walls in Texas are just sheetrock.
Right.
Sheetrock does not necessarily keep carbon monoxide from permeating into the house. That's why you can smell stuff that's in the garage. So it's a complete, utter bumberfuck. But hold on a minute, Joe. Let me get the video of the wreck for you. If I lose you, I'll be right back.
It's okay. It's okay.
No,
I didn't get it. But if you go ahead and go get it, it's fine. We want to thank everybody for coming through. We're definitely trying to bring awareness towards this state of emergency. This would be a national emergency, y'all. Right now, as bad as it's going forward, and we will be opening up the panel to have a sit down, gradual conversation on this. about what's happening um, towards Texas. A lot of livestock is gone. It's dead. It just overnight. A lot of we get a lot of our resources from Texas, and the fact that this is happening, this is going to put a dent. Um, Shout out to Aircraft Sparky for coming on through. Good to see you, brother. Castle Dragon, BK, always good to see my mods at work. Trailer Hood, good to see one of my co-hosts. Aircraft Sparky puts out Texas didn't buy westernized mills and such. This is an odd event. Um, Shout out to BK. Hit the like button. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, NC Worker. When you purchase your house, it's best to make sure your house is on the same circuit as hospitals and schools and such. And not a lot of people know that. If you take a book, a hook and a hook, a hose to your exhaust, to direct it out the house. I get what he's saying. He said, in other words, setting up a hook or a line for the exhaust to filter out of the house, outside of the house. I've seen that happen a few times. It's kind of hard. I mean, you can do that if you have the proper stuff. I would tell people the only kind of makeshift I can honestly think straight off hand is okay. She sent it to me. Is literally when they you take the hose that goes behind the hose vent that's behind the um the dryer. Take that off. Take some duct tape and you duct tape the entryway to the hose, and then put that on to close up that hole, because I doubt you're going to be drying clothes like that. And then you want to actually turn on then you want to actually do that and put that on the dryer and have that set to go to a window and duct tape that entrance out. Can that be done? Yes. I mean, I've only seen that makeshift happy kind of things happen so often. Um, you know what I'm saying? And like I think one of the things about it um is that a lot of our people are hurting. A lot of our people right now were not prepared for this. This was not good planning. This is not a good. This was literally. This is what happens when you skip corners. This is what happens when literally people try to. I don't want to say this is a conservative side. Um,
You'd be right, though. You'd be
I don't
right.
want to say this is a conservative. This is a Democrat. This I call this bad planning straight down the middle. That both
But
sides
also,
knew. Both
there's a
sides
little
knew
bit,
on this one and dropped the ball.
yeah, there's also a little bit of the whole, um, they're smarter than us. They know what they're doing. Let's trust them on the conservative side that a lot of people outside of Texas may not really understand. Texans are fiercely independent, but at the same time, Texans are, they say they care about local government, but the truth is local government races are nonpartisan. So if you want, we are very nonpartisan at the local level. Those same local city council members, um, mayors, when they go on to Austin eventually, they tend to be elected by more by their backers than who actually votes for them. In Texas, is notoriously known. During a Texas primary, the primary concern is, do they have enough money to beat the Democratic nominee? You're not going to get someone from Texas who doesn't have at least $20,000 to $30,000 saved up to run for office.
Hmm.
And it's amazing to me, these people that I see that live in their cars for a while to run for office have $20,000 to spare to run for office when the job only pays A state rep in Texas makes approximately $40,000 for regular session and another $20,000 for special session. But they usually have to generate well over $100,000 in campaign revenue in order to get elected for a job that pays $60,000 over a 2-year period. Do you see a problem with that?
Right.
You
Now,
also have the problem with the judges here. They usually have to raise anywhere from $100,000 to sometimes close to 500 for a job that pays 160,000.
mm, now let's go. I want to go ahead and pull out. Um, let me go ahead and grab what you sent me.
The
And
first
get
one is a young lady trying to find a place for her 2 children. The other one is the wreck. This is what we've experienced in less than a week in Texas.
okay. So one is with one is with a woman trying to find a. Okay, let me go ahead and pull up these videos. And again, if you guys are not are sensitive to certain stuff, please, we ask you. It's not for everybody. Um, you know what I'm saying? But I don't want to beat around the bush and not cover the truth. I don't want to I don't want to beat around the bush and cover the truth. So you said this one right here. Let me pull it out for you guys. For you guys. Uh, this is something, and you guys, we do ask y'all to share this, and let's get the truth out there about what's really happening out there in Texas. You know what I'm saying? Everybody wants to talk about all kind of makeshift things that are minute. So this is the first thing. This is one thing that I hear. It says from Pete Duckers, the cold is coming this week. We will be the coldest. It will be the coldest since. The last time it was in the single digits was 1996, but I believe will be the colder than 8% Tuesday morning. The last time colder than that was December 23rd, 1989, when it dropped to -1%. And we don't know how long it will last. If it keeps dropping lower and lower, if people are already having health problems with COVID, and because of the faulty power grid, the deaths and losses of life are going to go up. If I'm correct, they're going to go up. There's not enough space, and not to mention, um, from what we are finding out, people are actually trapped in Texas. They can't get out. Like, I don't think a lot of y'all know that, but naturally, even I said that to Michelle. Well, Michelle, why don't y'all just leave? And she said, "Well, Joe, we can't. The roads ain't the best. It's really not. They can barely do it during the daytime, and they were wrecking and crashing. How they're going to be able to get out now? That it's almost like damn if you do, damn if you don't. So um, let's see this one right here. We were alone. I don't see that video in the show. I think you said you sent it to me.
Yeah, I sent you 3 videos. I mean, 3 things just now.
Okay, yeah, I got that. Okay, so let me grab this. You sent me the we're in it alone. Power outages leave millions of Texans desperate for heat and safety. Let's crack at that first. Let's crack at that first. We can. Do you want to drop the? Do you want to open the panel, or you want to keep on rocking solo? What you want to do?
Hey, you can open up the panel. People deserve to say what they got to say.
Okay. Okay, I'm opening this up. Like I said, Michelle is predominantly running the show for this one. Just pretty much doing this. Um, come up respectful. I don't. We're not here to hear what y'all have to say. It's more so of what we're talking about today. So keep it like that. It's all open to everyone. Um, but right now, these people are desperately striving for help. I think these people are definitely striving for help. Looking at this video right here while we're waiting for people to come, um, really kind of shook my core. I found from you. This one really threw me off. And I'm trained for the code, but this right here, um, as I watched this, looked at this right here, that's how I knew that's going to take days to clear up. That's going to take days to clear up, people. That's the car wreck. That's the car wreck. That's going to take some time for them people to clean that up, if I'm correct.
Oh
They're not
yes.
going to be. And the thing about it was, people just five died.
It's up to 6 now.
It's up to six, excuse me.
Yes.
And so I hope people don't think that they've had time already to clear that up. This is almost like one of those apocalyptic horror movies where, well, the first thing always happens is like the bridge to the town breaks down. And so now you have it where that's one of the main roads to getting out. If we believe we're correct, that's one of the roads to getting out.
35, yes, Interstate 35.
So that's Interstate 35, correct. And that's blocked up, still backed up. And the roads have not been properly to, like when I lived up north in Massachusetts, the town you would automatically at nighttime and in the evening time, you would see them starting to salt the roads because they knew that, listen, we're not going to have time when it's time for people to go to work to salt them. So we have to salt them and salt them and salt them. So they start contracting that out. This was bad planning. Because like Michelle said, anybody who's been alive this long on the earth knows February, it's not December is the coldest. It's actually February. End of January, February going into March, that's when it hits cold. I don't even know how this is a romantic month. This is like the month of freezing death. But I don't know why they say this is a romantic month. This is literally like one of the.
It's so cold, you want to cuddle. It's so cold that even the ugliest Negro, if he cuddly, you want to cuddle with somebody.
I need survival body heat. I will hug the fattest or hairiest thing, man or woman, just to keep. It's like Luke trying to find a tauntaun to crawl up inside of.
Exactly. That's why February. It's like it falls right in the middle of the month when you just can't take it anymore. It's you've had so much cold, you just can't take it anymore. The groundhog has came out and said it's either going to be 6 more weeks or whatever his lie was this time, because we need to get that groundhog and beat his ass.
Yeah, they need to definitely kill that groundhog, but he literally did not. He literally did not properly. He didn't vet this properly.
No, if anybody wants a name for a hamburger joint, call it grilled groundhog burgers. I guarantee you people will come right all summer long. Right after we get out of this cold snap, Texans are ready to tear into some groundhog.
Now, in looking at all this that's going on, you know what I'm saying, but it's quite a bit. It's quite a lot of stuff.
But bear in mind, the government is immune from lawsuit. Bear in mind, the government is immune to lawsuit. Now,
How so? How's the government immune from this lawsuit?
Okay, see, we passed this thing called the 11th Amendment to the United States Constitution, and government cannot be sued because the king could not be sued. As long as the government is doing government functions such as providing roads, highways, utilities, and maybe we messed up, but you can't sue the government. They have to really do something criminally liable outside their job function and deciding, okay, we're going to do a rolling, they kept saying a rolling blackout for 30 to 45 minutes. My issue is, if when you cutting the lights out, it's controlled. According to you said this is completely controlled. We are intentionally cutting off the power. Please send me a text message that says we're cutting the power off in 30 minutes. Okay, cool. We'll cut it back on in the next hour. I have a way to plan my life. But when you cut it off and you tell me it's control, I'm a simple person. I don't want to hear any excuses. Oh, it's not our fault. We couldn't cut your electricity back on because green energy is so bad. No, you had an hour. Before you set up there and cut my electricity off, you should have worked it out and said, when I cut your electricity on, I'm cutting somebody else's off. That would have been a very simple solution. Don't sit up there and say, "Oh my goodness, we miscalculated, so we have to cut more and more people's electricity off while we sell electricity from Texas to other parts of the country." This is a lot deeper than people understand.
So let
I mean,
me go ahead. Let me
know
play
people
this.
hate
I
Trump.
found a video for you.
I know people hate Trump. I'm not gonna lie about this. I know people hate Trump because at the end of his presidency, I was running around going, he's acting like a weekend dad. Either tell people to stay at home or shut the fuck up. If they're grounded, they're grounded. No excuses. But we've now re-entered the Paris Climate Accord. We've re-entered the Paris Climate Accord. We've given China access to the two other grids. The federally controlled grids China has access to. The state of Texas, we control our grid. So the problem is we have contracts with the other two grids, the Western grid and the Eastern grid. And we don't have reciprocity in the event of power outages for people from the East or the West to come down. We just promise them that we give them X amount of units of electricity. Does that sound like a clunderfuck to you? That shows arrogance, lack of insight. You see that they gave the list of the 3 times previously Texas was caught with their pants down. The reason they don't show the time in 1980 is because a gentleman that was hired from up north came to the world's largest airport, Dallas-Fort Worth International, and found that they did not have any snowplows. They had, not talking about salting equipment, I'm saying they did not have anything to plow the airport.
Yeah, that's dangerous.
So you can imagine, and he got fired for that. They said, why the hell did you spend $10 million on snowplows? This is Texas. And 1980, there was a snowstorm that dropped 12 inches of snow. And but for his forward thinking, DFW airport would have been closed down for days.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the that we will show you of the road being clogged up. This is real time. Again, if you are feel a certain type of way to sensitivity, fair use of this information, we want to show you how this all undertook and went underway. So we're going to show you right here. All right, guys.
That's where a gentleman lost his life. And people who are asking, why didn't they slow down? You're driving on sheer ice.
Right.
Downhill. That was sheer ice.
For those of y'all who've never driven on black ice before, you can't just hit on the brakes. You hit on the brakes, it's like Jesus take the wheel. Like you're not stopping. I remember one time when I was driving and I was like, why does the car, I had a Mazda 3, and I was like, why does the car feel weird? And I took my foot off the gas and I hit the brake and my car started to slide. And my brother woke up and he said, Josiah, calm down. just ease yourself and just coast with it, and just tap the gas and then tap the brake. Just tap slowly, tap. And he said, but don't hit the brake. And he said, and I said, Sean, I don't feel like I'm in control. He said, you're not. You're literally just moving on momentum now. But thankfully, I was on a straightaway on 95. I was going through North Carolina through Virginia, but I was driving on black ice. That is one of the biggest killers of people driving on the highway. But luckily, it's a scare. Like some people, I mean, y'all gotta understand, man. So when people saying that's a straightaway, how can that truck, especially a semi truck stopping? Good luck with all that weight in the back. No, it's not stopping. It's not. Cars and stuff. No, like this right here. Just looking at that, and mind you, that is, I think it's like that went off for what, 2 hours of just crashing
Yeah,
on crashing and crashing.
yeah,
So for two
yeah.
hours, cars just kept on crashing. There was
Remember,
nothing they.
it's over a mile. It's that slope is over a mile, and so the luckier ones were at the end of that mile because the cars did not have that much time to gain extra momentum from the ice. But there's some incredible footage. There's another video. I just couldn't share it because you could literally see a body.
Yeah, I think
But
you're right.
a 18 wheeler, yeah, 18 wheeler just went on top of a car. It just it tried to do like you said in a jackknife. I mean, you cannot hit your brakes. If you hit your brakes, you will wind up jackknifing or go into a spin like you would not believe. I mean, my Uber driver, I finally got an Uber driver that was brave enough to get out in the snow. We were stuck at a light for 3 cycles because every time he tried to go forward, the ice would make him slide back. And he finally had to put the car in first gear to get control and then in second gear to go forward. You could literally smell his tires burning. And that was just to try to make a left hand turn.
Right, and so we have to understand. And like I said, the panel's open. It is open. Michelle definitely, where she's open to answering questions about this stuff respectfully. That's we've always been like that, to opening up the panel, to have these type of political, local, and sociological discussions. That's something that me and Michelle have talked about for almost a year and some change now, in doing this.
And I
And
cut
so,
my indicator off to let you understand. People are leaving their homes with the clothes on their back. I
right,
literally, when the lights went out at 6:30, I could not find clothes to pack. I couldn't even see my toothbrush. So I'm at my daughter's. This is my refugee attire.
right,
Okay. That
right,
there are people who literally had to pack up their kids, get in their cars, and oftentimes sleep in their cars because the police were blocking the roads for them to get to hotels, motels, because they didn't want them on the freeway. People that had generators could not get to the gas stations because if the gas stations happened to be open, the police were blocking their entrance and exit. They wanted no explanation as to why you were out. God forbid you tell the police you have a generator at your house because code enforcement does not like generators at your house unless they're properly permitted and outside of your garage.
like one of the things about it, one thing. So one of the things about it that you know that comes off pretty harsh. Um, what I'm saying is, like I said, you guys, this is very serious. Um, we cannot, Texas cannot afford. Well, the U.S. cannot afford, for one of our major keystone states to go down. I'm not sure y'all understand the graveness of this, because Texas is one of our biggest money makers. If they're down, we're down. Don't you understand that? You're going to see fluctuations in the stock market, livestock. oil, petroleum, a lot of things come out of that state. If they cannot get that up within 2 weeks, it's going to cause a ripple effect across the U.S. This is not something we are hypothetically talking about. This is fact. This is what happens when the majority of your millionaires and billionaires live in one state.
And don't forget one thing. This is the other thing. Even though we have so many billionaires, we have 26, the last count, 26 official billionaires on the Forbes 400 list. There are two others that got knocked off because they only got a billion. But anyway, what I'm trying to get you to understand, the board members of the board of directors of Texas's power company, our power grid, they do not live in Texas. One of them actually lives in Germany.
Mm.
So, as far as I'm concerned, one of the problems you have in Texas is, although we're a very conservative state, we're a very small business minded state, our elected officials are drawn to those that can contribute high dollars to their campaign. So, for the average guy or girl, whether you are Republican or Democrat, because you have the governor saying we want the power system investigated. We want to find out why this happened. Okay, after the fact, after you caused this, you have the mayor of the city of Dallas saying we want an investigation. He's a Democrat, conservative Democrat, but still a Democrat. At the end of the day, people forget what party you are. This is a natural disaster. And I'm so proud. Texans got the mayor of Colorado City to resign. He had the nerve to sit up there and say that if you were not prepared for this storm, that's your fault. You shouldn't be expecting the government who controls the grid, who regulates the industry. He said we should not be expecting the government to provide heat to our homes. That was our responsibility. Even though all of us have to buy our water from the municipality to flush our toilets, take a shower with, because they closed down all the wells. It's our responsibility that we didn't stock up on clean drinking water.
Yeah, that's just ignorant and stupid. Um,
Yeah, he resigned after that because he actually said only the strong shall survive.
Oh yeah, that was very dumb. That was very
uh,
dumb.
so what's going on, real deal financial? Good job with your stock market talk. I'm definitely seeing the numbers definitely come in for you. Um, like I said, when it comes into talking or addressing this, again, um, this is a serious matter. Uh, this is a serious matter because of the fragile state of this country right now, especially for a lot of them. We don't know how a lot of their people are going to hold out. We don't know how a lot of them are going to do. I know some people are saying, well, that's their problem. That's their problem. No, this is an American problem. It was already put out there by Joe Biden that listen, we have to get Texas up and running again. We have to get Texas back up and running. This is we got it that pride thing. I get it. Well, I won't ever take no help from my enemy. It doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter anymore when your grandma or the children or elderly or just people in general that have medical issues are suffering, and not just them, just people in general that doesn't have any type of mentioning. And if there's any type of meet up, if you have any people that are saying, hey, that's not our problem, that's their problem, then shame on you. I would honestly say, well, shame on you. Then you're not for the people. You know what I'm saying? This is one of those things where literally it's a joint effort. I don't care what kind of race or what kind of talking points you're banging. This is more so survival. It's a very scary thing when you have it where a woman's trying to keep her child warm. And I talked to a friend of mine, his wife. You know what she did? She took her child and put on 2 layers of jackets and put the child in the jacket on her body because that was her only way that she could think of to keep her child warm, was to keep her child warm off of her body heat. Like it's very serious, you know what I'm saying? I send him a cash app of $20 and say, hey man, like if there's anything else I can do, you know what I'm saying? If y'all know anybody in Texas that's hurting right now, man, and y'all can like give them like 10 or 15 bucks, something just just to help them get by, just try to help them, man. Like I said, Michelle's already telling y'all, you know what I'm saying, that hey, a lot of them people right now are out there hurting. Nobody out there is doing good. They don't. The only people that we can honestly say are doing well is it's kind of more so of an economical gap. It's an economical gap. If you it don't matter the poor whites, the poor blacks, Hispanics don't really matter.
Exactly.
Asians, they all sucking out there right now. Right now they're trying to keep the entertainment portion of Dallas going. What good is that if everybody's dead? So, you know what I'm saying? Go ahead, real deal finance.
Man, this is a logistical nightmare.
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
This is a logistical nightmare. This is some dumbass shit. Michelle,
Yeah.
as you be an attorney, so they can't be able to sue.
Are you talking about suing the government?
Yeah, because
No, you cannot.
Governor Abbott showed extreme, like I agree with Michelle, extreme lack of foresight, and they needed power trucks. They needed.
You cannot sue the government like that. You can't. I
Well,
could have. Right. Like I know y'all.
move on to the next topic. Let me just move on to the next situation. Now, my question to Michelle is there any way plow trucks is coming in? Is there any type of effort of plow trucks coming in? Because we need trucking to run nonstop.
Yes, there are efforts being made. Unfortunately, the mail did not even get delivered in Texas for the past 2 days because the roads are that dangerous that the United States Post Office that said through rain, sleet, snow, and shine, we will deliver your mail. They said, oops, that's till we met Texas. They can't do it. The roads are that bad. So trucks are supposed to start moving on Saturday.
Now, what is Abbott doing? What is Abbott doing?
Abbott is telling people he's going to investigate. There may be criminal charges, don't get me wrong. We won't be able to individually sue or get involved in a class action unless we can show that there was some serious criminal negligence, that they knew what they were doing was going to cost people lives and they had a financial motive to do it.
Now,
And
there's no
so
salt,
far,
no salt on the roads, no type of heating up the freeway highways. No
they
type.
completely, it was a clusterfuck of who was responsible. These are interstate highways, and oftentimes you have the state fighting with the county over resources. Who's actually responsible for this leg of the highway, that leg of the highway, and it gets absolutely ridiculous when you think of the state highway patrol. They can write a ticket in any jurisdiction, but they're just that. They're state highway patrol, and they do not get involved with the mere maintenance of what's going on in Texas,
Now,
any
Michelle,
part of Texas.
Michelle,
And that's frustrating to a lot of people to understand the jurisdictional lines. But they are there, and unless it has to do with traffic revenue. You know, if you get in a high speed jurisdiction, but if there's a 100 car pileup, the Texas Rangers, as far as they're concerned, is who do we write the ticket to? Oh, nobody was at fault. This is a force majeure, which is an act of God. Nobody gets a ticket. We're not really interested in it.
Michelle, does Texas even invest in any grants or any type of business into
I'm sorry, you're breaking
business?
up just a little bit. Joe, could you repeat the question? You can hear him better than
Yeah,
me.
does Texas invest in like pretty much snow equipment or stuff
Yeah,
like that?
needs to be some type of grants to be able to make sure that next time, because
Hmm.
eventually it's gonna reheat up. It's definitely gonna reheat up.
Basically, what you'll get from Texas after those three incidents that Joe showed earlier.
12 million Texans is literally
I live in the Dallas Fort Worth area, so I'm equally between Dallas and Fort Worth, and it really the main priority will always be to make sure that the interstates are cleared, but there could be delays over who exactly is responsible for that portion of the highway because this is it is this a stretch of road that's within the city limits or is it part of the county? And so that clunderfuck was who was responsible for icing that mile long, de-icing that mile long stretch. And also you have, worker morale. Did the worker actually do the job they were hired to do? I mean, did you have somebody coming out there checking the roads to make sure they were passable before opening up the roads? Or did you just put a warning sign out to let them know, hey, roads are slippery when wet.
Right.
They are known to do that. So what we've learned from this lesson is that we are not prepared. When you have government officials going on Facebook and saying that only the strong should survive, you had the responsibility to make sure your family was safe and warm and had drinking water. This is on you. When you have mentalities like that believe that any assistance from the government other than, hey, I need you to come by my house, it got burglarized. I need you to come by, my car got broken into. I need you to come by because I think my neighbors are having a party and it's too loud. That's when they want the government to get involved. They want the government to get involved to do something that they could have done to themselves, like go knock on the door and say, hey, can you cut your music down? But no, Texans won't do that. They'd rather sit up there and call the police and say, my neighbor's having a party. It's the music's too loud. Or my neighbors are over there. I think they're selling drugs. That's what Texans believe is government. Back the blue. Back the blue. The government, I asked people, I said, so what about sanitation? Because even the sewage lines were freezing up. Why? Because they cut the power grids off. You got to pump that shit. Excuse the expression, but that's what I'm saying. But again, people were like, you cannot use the bathroom in a bucket for a few days. Not when I'm paying my taxes, dude. I pay my water bill. I pay my gas bill. I pay my electric bill. So they're also now planning on raising our electric rates to compensate them for the inconvenience that they experience in trying to provide the service that I'm paying for. After you cut me off for over 24 hours.
I think one of the things about it that and they're saying that you're low, real financial. They're saying that you're low. Um, one of the things about it that it really sucks about it is that people will most likely not make it. Now, I think this video right here, Michelle, we're gonna show another video that you have. What I'm saying, and I want people to see how realistic and horrible it is out there in Texas. Michelle, this video right here. Could you want to go over this one right here for them? This is a video out there with people because it's so bad out. They are sleeping to keep heat in their cars. They're using the
Yeah,
heat in their car.
they have children that they can't even get hot water to make milk for their bottles. Now, can you imagine being in a situation where you got a hungry child and you need hot water to? And some people, I said the best decision I made in my life was not to get an electric hot water heater. Some people have electric hot water heater. So at this house, they upgraded to an electric hot water heater. So they don't even have any hot water in their house once the electricity went off.
Now,
Imagine water cools down very quickly. Imagine your hot coffee cup, and if you don't use your drink your coffee within half an hour, it's no longer hot. So that's what they're dealing with. So these people are not idiots. So watch.
the thing about it, because everybody, I'm hearing a lot of people saying, "Well, what about the environment? This is why we have the environment of fossil fuel." Now, this is something I'm gonna be a little controversial. The people that are still on the old grid of power, and I want to talk about this. Like my grandmas and some of the people in the old country, that's what we call it. They are still on the old power grid or the old water system. If I'm not sure if y'all ever know about groundwater, where they tap in and they get the water from the ground, but they have water underground. I know that's weird for some people, but some people actually do that. That's why they have water pumps. While other people get their water from the city. When the hurricane had hit, the people that were on the old system, they were still getting water. You would know. You want to know how you would know that you want to know how you know that you have power. Michelle, what is one of the secrets to checking if you have power? What do you go check?
Oh, my lights are always on. I should say I have the TV on, and the lights in the bathroom on.
Close,
Those are,
close. You would go check. I'm gonna ask the chat. What is something that you check to go see if you have power? What is the one thing? This is a little survival trick that I had to learn. Well, in doing in housing, if you want to know if you have power, you will go check the toilet. I kid you not. Just go check the toilet. Check the toilet. Because the water in the toilet, you'll hear because the water's circulating. I kid you not. You ever check the toilet? You ever heard somebody say go check the toilet? Go. I'm dead ass it. Ask anybody. Look in the chat if y'all ever heard of that. Check the toilet, and that will tell you everything you need to know about the water still running in your home. And my grandma and my granddad said, check the water. If you check the toilet and the water's still running in the toilet, then we still have power. And I'm like, how is that still possible? They said, we never switched. We never switched off the old grid. Now, this is very interesting and very curious because the people who are on the new grid of power, they don't have power anymore. While the people who are on the old grid, they're still in power. Well, they still have some form of power, depending on who they are. Like you just said, certain people, they're working on a different mechanic. They're working on a different mechanic. I can't but help to ask about since they've taken this deal, and as we brought up about Sterling Electric, we brought up about Sterling Electric and everything. What is that going to mean for the populace of Texas right now? What's that going to do for them? Because they're struggling to get by, food, water. You know what I'm saying? They can't. Well, I don't know if they got to worry about keeping stuff cold. I mean, you can literally take. I mean, you can't take your milk and put it in the snow. Like I said, the time that I mean, everybody thinks like, there's certain stuff you can do. It's a
Joe,
lot.
when the temperature in your house is 29 degrees, you can leave the milk on the counter. That's how cold these houses got.
I saw the pit. Now I've been looking at the pictures of what you've been showing of the houses and stuff, and I see that some of the houses, there's ice inside of the house. There's ice literally inside of these people's houses and stuff.
Some people will have a $30,000 to $80,000 repair on their houses, depending on how bad the water breaks were. I saw one literally, it broke my heart. The water broke upstairs and it came down into the kitchen and was it froze to the ceiling fan. The kitchen was so cold, it froze to the ceiling fan. Now, this is just unacceptable. I mean, we are living worse than some people in third worlds because they regulate the type of firewood that you can use. You're not supposed to just chop down your tree and put untreated wood in your fireplace. Not like back in the day when you could just go out to the woods and chop down a tree.
So people are just doing whatever they can do just to keep.
Yeah, people have literally been living in tents in the middle of their living room, trying to use candles to keep warm. People have been sleeping in sleeping bags inside their houses. This is the most third world archaic display. And for some people to come in and say, well, you should have been better prepared. Well, wait a minute. Who was the genius that decided to cut off the power at the water treatment facility? Who was the genius that decided to cut off the electricity at the sewer plant so that the sewage got into the pipes and froze? You're talking about what people should do, but at the end of the day, there are certain things that government workers should be held accountable for not doing. There were many brave people out there, that work for the power companies officially that were manning the lines. There were people who work, understand what I'm saying. When we talk about the grid in Texas, the power grid in Texas, Texas owns the power grid. The power grid is like a road where the providers can run their trucks down in order to provide the electricity to your house. So we're not sitting up here saying that it's all the power company's fault. We're saying that Texas controls the grid. They can sit up there and say, okay, you guys, this is the time for the trucks. We need the trucks to come in. We need the trucks to come in. All you trucks waiting in line, come on in. This is what the supply, this is what we need. Like when we ran out of toilet paper, it's like, okay, we need you guys to up the production. We need to give the toilet paper trucks priority. Get them in here as quickly as you can. That didn't happen. And why it didn't happen right now is a mystery. We can speculate. There are a lot of excuses, but excuses are not the solution.
Because that's horrible. That's horrible because I'm looking at my energy stocks that I invested in, and I'm not a person that doesn't have any type of kind heart, but NRG Energy literally plunged, and now they're integrated home, so their energy services is involving in integrated home services. So customers to reduce energy consumption during the cold winter. Then you got Seaport Global that pretty much bought into the company and trying to be able to figure out what is going on with the Texas government. So what is really Abbott's plan, man? Because the investigation is just one step, man. We got 12 million Texans that's literally snowed in with no energy. And you even said that the sewer line is froze. Yeah. This is incompetent as hell.
Okay, you have two things going on. Have you guys ever heard of blue zones? BLUEZONES.
Well, I'm here in California, so I'm not.
No, California has blue zones as well.
Okay.
California has blue zones. I think it's in Pasadena. But Fort Worth, Texas is the biggest blue zone. Fort Worth, Texas, most people know, is 30 miles away from Dallas. So blue zones is the perfect partnership between government and business to make for a healthier, happier citizenry. They encourage people not to use natural gas. They encourage people not to eat beef because beef takes up so much land compared to eating protein flour.
Sound like some type of vegan bullshit or some type of lifestyle that's peace craft shit.
Joe, they spent $5 million to draw one bike trail through the hood in Fort Worth. $5 million. And I was joking around with somebody. I said, you're gonna have these yuppies riding bikes up and down the street. Y'all gonna get so many 911 calls that the biker has been attacked. This white guy said, Nichelle, people that ride bicycles are called cyclists. I said, then those people are really going to be screwed because people are going to be calling 911 saying the biker got attacked. And if you're looking for a biker on a motorcycle in the hood, we call the people who ride motorcycles a motorcyclist. The guy on the motorcycle got hurt. So long and short, there's going to be a miscommunication. The police are going to be looking for a guy on a motorcycle, and the guy on the bicycle is the one that just got the hell beat out of him. So don't put bike trails through the hood until you understand how we communicate.
Now, we're pulling up these things right now. These blue zones are because looking at the first thing you brought up, it was ERCOT to correct energy prices in Texas due to scarcity of supply during the winter storm. Austin, Texas, the Electric Reliability Council of Texas has been, wow, that's the name, directed by the state of Texas to correct the price of energy in order to reflect the scarcity of supply caused by the winter storm. In other words, the Public Utility Commission of Texas is ordering ERCOT to adjust prices as demand for energy has exceeded the supply that utilities have the ability to generate. So pretty much, and I'm gonna help you all formulate that because we've seen that before. Pretty much, the demand on power or but mind you, power and resources, it's in demand in Texas. You got to think that's one of the biggest states with population, and they cannot keep up with the supply and demand of resources. So what's happening is they're having to pick and choose, that's right, certain areas that get resources. This is when you have to start picking on a boat who gets to eat and who doesn't. Am I correct, Michelle?
Joe, imagine this.
Mm-hmm.
You have not been able to eat for datgum 24 hours to 30 hours. You haven't been able, you've been standing in line and they said, hey, we ran out of Popeye's chicken. We ran out. Y'all can't get no chicken. But when the new supply of chicken comes in, they tell you, well, instead of you having to pay $5, you now have to pay 10. You've gone 24 hours without food, and we assume that you're going to eat 2 burgers instead of 1. So you have to pay $10 for each of those burgers instead of 5. What sense does that make? They're screwing you twice. You've been hungry for 24 hours because you couldn't get out of line. They got you trapped in the line. You know how those drive-thrus are sometimes. Once you're in the drive-thru, you can't get out. So you're stuck in the drive-thru waiting on a hamburger. You're hungry. You're in there for 24 hours. You ain't got to eat. And when you finally get to the window, they said, because of the rising supply, because you guys, there's such a rise in demand, we finally got supply, but you're going to have to pay double for it. What kind of tomfoolery is that, miss?
Because the energy stock companies is going to literally rise due to the fact right now it's a dip and a lot of corporations is going to buy into it. So it's literally going to increase the prices of the consumer and also rise the prices of retail traders on the stock market. So I hope, I just hope that there's some type of aid, some type of program. Hell, give me Abbott's job, to be honest. Abbott's approval rating was already low. Now it's probably tunked.
But does that not sound cruel? That literally, I want you to think about that, real.
Yes.
That is you're pretty much you're making blood money now. Your people can barely eat, they can barely keep warm, and they barely can survive. Yet this supposed, as people are saying, this way of life of green living or the blue living of saving money that you told Michelle and other people to switch to, they can't afford that type of living, or they're told when they can use it or when they can't use it. You get to decide that. Now you told them to switch to that, but now you're in control of when they use it and when they don't use it. If that's not blood money, I don't know what is. Like that's on a whole nother frequency.
Well,
And
I was
don't forget the
invested in
people
energy
who went
stocks
down.
before the situation, so it's pretty much of a scenario that unknown, unknown. 'Cause I didn't know that. I thought y'all had pretty much this mapped out. This is
Mm.
literally new news to me, to be honest. I thought y'all had your resources mapped out and had your logistics plan ready due to the fact that we rely on Texas for logistics. Trucking is supposed to be running nonstop. Hell, Texas with the pandemic has ran literally nonstop compared to California.
But you heard Joe say the name of it.
Yes.
Energy Reliability Council of Texas. They're the ones. Energy Reliability Council of Texas. They are the ones that said we were going to have rolling blackouts so everyone could share in the pain. But yet and still, the little guy had his electricity off for 30 hours. His home temperature went down to 29 degrees or lower. And now that his energy has finally come back on, it's going to take him running his heat at like 85 degrees for 3 hours in order to get it back up to 68 degrees. What sense did that make?
Yeah, so it's pretty much gonna overload people's bill, and I don't, to be honest, I don't even see federal even helping this situation.
Well,
FEMA has already been activated by Biden, but it's not for the individuals yet. It is just for the governmental aid to help at the hospitals because people are coming in with frostbite. People are coming in with carbon monoxide poisoning. There are a lot of shelters that the cities are providing. The city of Grand Prairie, where I officially live, they told people they could come in for 2 hours and warm up. 2 hours. You got your kids, and they tell you you can come out of your car for 2 hours and stretch your legs because you're living in your cars because you can't get to a hotel. If you do get to a hotel, motel, hey, they went to those that were faster. That some people decided to tough it out. Others, you know, I wish that I had not trusted them at 10 o'clock in the morning and just gone to a hotel. I wish that Lyft or Uber had been available. My daughter tried to come get me. I tried to drive my car. My battery was not designed for that weather. It was what it was.
mm,
I mean,
Because the supply chain is pretty much destroyed. This is It's literally destroyed until probably further notice. They're probably gonna snow y'all in probably for another 2 or 3 weeks, and it's messed up.
I
currently in
think
Texas, it's supposed to get this, you guys. We're supposed to be up to 60 by Saturday. 60.
so.
So I'm
So
gonna tell you, COVID is gonna be a new thing because when they open up, when we get to 60 and 65 degrees, every Texan that has been snowed in is gonna meet with their friends at the local restaurant or the local bar and cry away their misery for a couple of hours without their mask on.
mm, we're joined here by Dee Darrell, uh, the therapist for YouTube, um, and conscious clientele. We also know that Dee Darrell also stays in Texas. Also, Dee Darrell, how you been doing out there, brother?
Man, it's ridiculous, man. I right now, man, there are a lot of people calling for the governor's head. I mean, they blaming the governor, the governor. They blaming the mayor of Houston, who's a black man, and Sylvester Turner. I mean, they're just a lot of people are upset. I mean, I'm gonna say this, man. The state of Texas does a poor job of handling uh, disasters and anything with inclement weather and so forth. We just do a poor job. You know,
Mhm.
I just feel like with the resources that Texas has, they just do a poor job. I don't know who's over what government agencies handle certain things, but um, as far as Houston, we've been calling for infrastructure advancements as far as for flooding and so forth. None of those things have been done. Uh, as far as better roads, they've attempted to do things of that sort. It's still not up to par. Right now, they're saying there's an alleged um, uh, I don't know if it's a rumor right now that's been floating around that the electricity bills are going to go up and
They
Yes,
are.
they
this
are. Yes, they
They
are.
are.
Because my energy
yeah
stock is down right now, but other energy stocks has went up. So yes, it's
yeah
literally
but
gonna
they're talking
power
about
shoot up.
yeah, they're saying like $9 a kilowatt and stuff like that, and
Dedro,
yeah,
how about 12? How about 12? I heard rumors of 12.
yeah. So I don't know, man, but it's I
Twelve
was out
dollars
of
a
power
kilowatt.
as of yesterday from about 5 a.m. to about, I mean, 5 p.m. to about 5 a.m. in the morning. Then the same thing happened today. We had um, a blackout from in my neighborhood from about 5 p.m. again, and now actually the electricity just turned back on about 45 minutes ago
Mhm.
and so forth. And then I started looking at different things and so forth. I was basically just trying to tune out and take a break from things. I wasn't even watching YouTube. I just was kind of reading books and
Right.
looking at Netflix. I just needed a break, and I'm
I
at
agree.
the same time I'm trying to work out things with my staff, letting them know when as far as my staff wondering when we're going to reopen again. I'm contacting a suburb outside of Houston called Texas City, which is in the near Galveston Island. That's where my main location is at. I'm attempting to find out as far as what the weather is like there, the roads, the electricity. Is there power in the area? I'm basically trying to network with different people and find out how things are there when that possibility could come. I'm just trying to answer questions from a variety of different people. I work in the community. A lot of I deal with a lot of group homes and different things with adult mental health clients. They're wanting to know, as far as me providing support for them. I've been doing a lot of online therapy all day and so forth with various people with crisis and so forth. So that's pretty much. It's been pretty hectic. And
Yeah.
when it got about 4 or 5 o'clock, I took a
That's
break
pretty much
right
it.
around the time the electricity went out, and I kind of tuned out and just kind of you know tried to just kind of put my mind in a different place. The electricity came back on around 8:15, I want to say Central,
Mhm.
and then I decided, okay, let me get back on YouTube a little bit. Let me just check and see what's going on. And I'm just seeing stuff where people all over the state of Texas are in an outrage. A lot of people are upset. A lot of people in Houston, they're mad at Sylvester Taylor, our mayor Sylvester. They're mad at Greg Abbott. They they don't want, and I
Well,
just
D.
was like,
Darrell, this
wow,
doesn't help Greg Abbott's approval rating. 'Cause it was already low. Greg
yeah,
Abbott's approval rating was already low as hell. Now it
yeah.
done literally
So
punked. 12 million Texans is snowed in. Dude, this is terrible. Because we're talking about Texas as the beacon of the United States. Most of our trucking, most of our distribution, oil and gas, food production, anything involving of other states that need Texas to be productive and stay strong is pretty much nailed into the pretty much the casket until further notice. It's probably going to be 2 or 3 weeks of this, a full month maybe, if they need to be able to really snow y'all in.
But don't
yeah,
forget, there are the cattle industry. They got hit incredibly hard by them not the egg industry. I mean, understand these things that went haywire. The dairy industry, the just basic beef industry, because the electricity was cut at a lot of these ranches. How do you keep your cows warm when it's 7 degrees?
You can't. You can't.
Okay.
You're gonna. the this is as I'm saying. Like when it comes to that, and when it comes to the farm life, your best bet, you're supposed to maneuver your livestock to warmer areas. Unless you have some type of heater that can keep the livestock alive, you're going to be taking incredible losses. You're going to take some pretty harsh losses with this. And definitely in having this conversation, and yeah, you guys, I don't mind saying my name is Josiah. Listen, this is you. This is YouTube. This is how I can connect with people. I'm not even in this space like that, but I want you to understand. Um, I want you to understand that this is serious. Like people are dying. They're losing their jobs. They don't know that. Well, and when I say that, because they don't know, like, listen, man, I have to start. I'm going to have to start making some hard decisions. You know what I'm saying? This is not an easy thing. Like I said, I've already been send my friend, he stays in a VA care center out there in Texas. You know, luckily they have a generator there at that facility, but he already told me, like, man, it's flickering. It's on and off. They're choosing when how to use it to conserve energy. You know what I'm saying? So and that's a VA center. That's a government owned center. So right now I can only imagine how it's going for the citizens. You know what I'm saying? People, what you're looking at right now, this is what some people are doing. Like, you gotta understand, in the middle of the night, people's livelihoods stopped. Like, just stopped. There was no planning. There was no I have time to preparate or get ready for this, or I'm trying to look like this and that. Like, people got hit with this, like coming home from work, and the most that they could do, like Nichelle, like you saw Nichelle, she's like, yo, I was in my pajamas. I remember she was sending me some stuff on Facebook, and now I'm hearing Nichelle has to get out of her house and get to another location. This has happened. I've seen this before. Like, I live in an area where there's hurricanes. The most that they'll tell you to do is listen, take what you can and leave. Right? I feel for D. Darrell and Nichelle because they can't just get up and leave. I can't say, hey, y'all, come over here to the south and I can hold y'all up. They can't just get out and leave like that. They have children, they have family, they have people there that, yo, I can't just leave. I have stuff here that I can't just move. And I think what I-35, if I correct, that's done. That's trashed. So how far you think you're going to get if there's really no gas stations or no resources? That's a 2 to 3 hour drive for some people just trying to get out of Texas. You ain't gonna get very far,
right?
So when we're looking at this, what I'm saying, for some people, looking at the power thing, they're picking and choosing, which I think is that's a very dangerous game when you're picking and choosing from with the commission. They're picking and choosing who gets what resource. In other words, they're flipping on the toggles, playing God, who gets resources at the time. So if you don't live in the business district, you're not getting no power. If you don't live in close to what is it? What studio y'all got out there? Not Universal. Is it Universal? I don't know what y'all. Six Flags. I'm sorry, Six Flags lights is still on. I don't know why they got Six Flags lights still on. Why are they still getting power? But you're telling me that Nichelle and D. Darrell, who paying tax dollars and literally
high tax dollars at that,
right? But they can't turn on their lights. They can't get a warm cup of coffee, or literally just turn on the heat to just heat up their feet.
And don't forget, our building codes here are so slack. I asked my girlfriend up in Chicago. I said, why is it that I never hear about people in Chicago having the lines break on their washing machine? Lines are breaking to washing machines in Texas. She said, aren't your walls insulated? Remember
No,
what I said about, yeah, they're not. We have these beautiful brick facade homes that are nothing. It's brick, a little bit of wood, and then some plywood. There's no insulation in our walls. Our
again,
pipes are not insulated.
again, this is where from a house a person who builds homes, this is where you called when cutting corners finally bite you in your ass. This is what happens where I always would hear people, Michelle, when we had this talk, Joe, come out to Texas, come out to Texas. And I'm like, damn, how y'all building so fast? How y'all getting this? What are these building codes? And now we're hearing people like, well, shit, my house can't stay warm for nothing. So now, and it sucks because you can't just run up. Good luck running up and suing the government. But they're gonna be like, oh no, 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 no. Y'all gonna have to find somebody on this card because literally the quote, and I quote statement: at various times today, energy prices across the system have been as low as approximately 1,200. The commission believes this outcome is inconsistent with the fundamental design of the erratic market. Energy prices should reflect scarcity of the supply. If customer load is being shed, scarcity is at its maximum, and the market price for the energy needed to serve the load should also be at its highest. So the PUC also directed ERCOT to correct any past prices, such as the firm load that is being shed in EEA3 is accounted for the ERCOT scarcity pricing signals. Over the 4 million Texans have been without power after rolling outages turned into lengthier blackouts. Now, if some of y'all don't understand that, I will help you with that. Here's the deal. They were saying from the big bank side or big business side, listen, our people are good. We are taking care of them. We are not charging them and we are not playing with their power. Okay? Let me show you. And we got two Texans on the panel. They're getting power. This is what they were telling the world. This is what they were telling everybody else. Then you started hearing when Texans themselves said, oh, hell no. Nah. We're not getting power. Our shit's off. We are been in blackout mode. We're barely getting by. So then you start seeing the videos from Nichelle or D. Darrell who will walk outside and you'll think it's nighttime. It's not nighttime. That's just them in a blackout sector. But then you'll see them turn it or go walk up a hill and show the other part of town that's light up like day. They're counting the light up like day part for the blackout sector and saying we are generating power. So technically, we're not lying when we're saying we're getting out power. We're just not getting out power and dispersing it as we should. But we're still charging. We're still charging the shell. We're still charging D. But we're not. We're giving them the minimum cost. How are you giving me the minimum cost if I'm not even getting no power at all? The fuck that makes sense. So that's the big issue why now it's a national emergency because they're finding out, yo, you said you could handle the problem, and we're seeing that's a big lie. If I'm off what I'm saying, let these two correct me because that's what we're finding out. Just like they had that hurricane and they were saying, oh, yeah, you could go into the church. Then we found that people weren't allowed into the church. It seems like Texas, when it comes to y'all damn natural disasters, y'all be just dropping the fucking ball. Like,
That's
God
true.
damn,
That's true.
like, it's like we can't take these states for granted whenever they say we got our people's back. Like we have to send somebody in because what y'all are saying is totally different than what the representatives of your state are saying about y'all, if that makes any sense.
D. Darrell, how were you able to charge your phone?
I charge my phone in my car, but I've had electricity for I've had electricity for most of this situation. I didn't go without electricity until yesterday for about 10 hours. So even
Think
though
of
at
the
the time,
stupidity. Think of the stupidity of forcing millions of Texans to
Yeah.
go out to their cars to charge their phones, their fossil fuel burning cars, so
Yeah.
that they could charge their cell phones. Rather than cut their electricity on, keep it on. No one should have had their electricity off for more than 4 hours. No one.
Right.
No one. But you force us in the name of green energy to go out to our cars and leave our cars running so we can charge our phones and still do our remote work. What sense did that make? We put more fossil fuels in the air trying to charge our phones and stay warm because we couldn't get to our electricity.
I want to ask the question of this. What do y'all think is the mind state of Texans now, that y'all made this shift? Y'all worked so hard. Y'all did. Y'all worked so hard to save the planet and green energy, and now this is happening. Y'all are literally trying to save the planet, going green. I swear that shit ever comes to South Carolina, I'm gonna say fuck yourselves. I'm not doing this shit. No, give me.
There
I'm
will
burning.
be some reform. There will be some. There will be reform. There will be some people out of office. That there are gonna be some change. That's gonna be a shakeup.
I hear that you already started kicking people out of office, Darrell. I'm hearing you already kicking people out.
Abbott is next because 2022 is
Yeah,
isn't
he's not getting reelected. He's
yeah.
done. Matter of
Yeah,
fact, I'm
but
I'm
don't
gonna
forget
say
the
his political career is done.
Abbott's political career, but there are also some mayors. There are also some mayors and some city council members. Um, the mayor from Colorado City, Texas, has already resigned. Um, one of the city council members in Arlington is coming under fire because he said it was a rumor that we were just being stupid to listen to rumors that the city of Arlington was not going to cut off any water. Well,
Wow.
guess what? A water main broke in Arlington. They cut the water off. So yippee to all of those who were self-reliant enough to ignore the government and went ahead and filled their tubs with water because they have water. While those that believe what government said, again, I have an issue. I'm a Republican. I don't tell anybody I'm not. But I have an issue with people who say don't trust the government and then turn around and tell me what a city council member said or what a sheriff said or what the governor said. That's still government, you dumb pricks.
Right.
I mean, when I say limited government, I mean, I don't back the blue because right now they do not serve and protect, they serve and collect. They serve warrants, they serve citation, and they collect fees. That's all that the municipal police department is there for. I had my daughter's friend, her car got stuck on ice, and the police officer was looking right at her. He didn't offer her any assistance. Some teenage boys pushed her car out of the ice. It's not their job. They're sitting out there protecting the businesses from being looted. Walmart opened up, even though they cut the electricity off in that grid. But then they realized they didn't have enough generators to power the lights in the store and the security cameras. So rather than get robbed, they closed the Walmart down. And now the police are sitting outside the Walmart to make sure it doesn't get looted.
Gotta protect this. Gotta protect this giant tax paying conglomerate. Business. Can't lose. Can't use Fort Walmart. You can't lose that. You know what I'm
Man,
saying? Real deal.
man, I went to an HEB today. I decided to get out earlier and they had some grocery stores open. And it's funny that you talked about the milk and the meat and stuff like that. There was absolutely no dairy, no bread, no dairy,
I knew
no
that shit
meat.
was gone.
All of that stuff was gone.
I know that shit was gone.
All of that, everything was gone. Nothing. Pretty much.
Mm.
I never seen an HEB look that clean as far as empty shelves in my life. Everything was pretty much anything of use stored as far as liquids and so. Basically, most of the stuff was gone. Pretty much. All the essential stuff was gone.
You know, when I think about this, and I bring to account when people talk about sustaining, learning how to sustain and be on your own. And right now, I'm telling you right now, Texas right now, they are like, yo, this is harder. Like when people say we can do it on our own, and there's a divine voice in the universe that says,
Hey,
hey, a divine voice in the universe that says, well, let's put you to the test. And here we are. We're now they're like, this shit is crazy because the people that we said that they said that they had our back do not have our back. People that we thought that were supposed to do right by us are not doing right by us. People that we said that they're supposed to make sure that there's fair and just, they're not doing that. And my heart really goes out to everyone who's out there in Texas that is trying to um, get by. This is a very tough time. I don't take no. Listen, man. I don't wish this upon nobody. I know what it's like to be stuck in the cold, and that shit is very dangerous. And I'm sure a lot of people have lost some loved ones already. You know what I'm saying? And
I
so,
mean, don't forget that, like, for example, I went outside. I'm going to tell you this. My daughter goes to school in Minnesota. I could not find wool socks in the state of Texas. All the
mm,
socks were cotton. I had to go online and get her some wool socks from Minnesota. So imagine all the people that went outside in Texas in cotton socks, jumping around in that snow, and the
mm,
number of frostbite. They don't know how to cure frostbite. Luckily, I went to school in D.C. After I felt my feet were getting frostbitten from trying to charge my phone out in the car that wouldn't start because I didn't have a good enough battery. But that's another story. I came back inside. I realized my shoes were covered in snow. My toes were numb. I've had 3 strokes. I went upstairs where it was a small room, steamed that room up with the hot water, and then got in a very long bath. Long bath. I was
right.
pruny as could be,
yeah,
but it was
yeah.
survival. A lot of people in Texas. This one woman posted on my Facebook page. She goes, Nichelle, you're right. I have gas. I have a gas central air and heat, but I just realized it's not blowing because we don't have any electricity, and I don't even know how to light my gas stove. We had to instruct this
Mm,
woman how to take a lighter. How
And
many
that
people have lighters? How
you
many
you
people have matches at their house?
yeah. Like, yeah.
I don't think people are trained for that type of thing that you're going through. We're joined here by Super Mike because I keep hearing him say "yo," as well
Yeah.
as other people. Renaissance man,
Hey, what's
um,
up, panel?
what's up? Like I said, I told y'all
What's going on?
I wanted to definitely have this conversation, especially with some Texans, on what's going on. Like I've already talked to my counterparts from different communities, the Hispanic and the white side. So now we're hearing from the black side, and it seems like y'all all are ringing the same bell. Like, yo, this blue shit, it got to go, as well as other stuff that these talking points, they're not what they seem.
What?
Uh,
No,
those
when you say blue shit, what do you mean, BMT?
blue zones, they're not the blue zone shit. It just did not. It's definitely not working. Um,
Blue zones are considered the perfect partnership between government and business for the betterment of the health and happiness of the citizens.
Okay. No,
uh,
I did want to bring this up, BMT, and since you were going there. See, to me, and I know you're a conservative. To me, this is where the black conservative comes in. To me,
hmm?
this is where he can really where he comes in and says to all parties, "Hey, this is why." Like you know how I go at guys for having talking points
Hmm.
on the right. To me, this is an example of, hey, this is why you can't be 100% dependent on government. To me, this is where a black conservative makes their strongest case for being a conservative, is for when things like this happen. That space of prepper slash, I think about, okay, when you look at Hurricane Harvey, Hurricane Katrina, things like this. To me, this is where, if you want to really convert black people into conservatives, where you make your best case.
I don't. I don't think. See, the thing about it. The thing about it. Renaissance. I'm not even trying to sell politics here. I don't
Oh
think
no,
that.
I'm not saying you're trying to sell it necessarily right now. I'm just saying in general, when I hear the rhetoric and Michelle talked about blue zones and all of that,
Well,
that's what came to mind, and that's what I was thinking about earlier today. Like, I would figure there'd be more push in the black community after, or I'd hope after something like this, for prepping and
uh,
how to be prepared for, if power goes out, water, what to do, if you can't get on the road, just all those things that we're lacking in our community.
See,
I think you have a good point, but guess
BMT.
what? Guess what I heard? Guess what I heard from the leader of the North, what is it? True Texas Patriot. They're saying that the power in South Dallas stayed on while the power in places like Keller went off. So they're saying that black people got a priority over the power.
I have
right.
heard. I have heard to.
that.
I have talked to one of my coworkers who works out there. I think his family lives more in the city of Dallas, and I think he lives in more in North Texas. I don't know the layout as well, but he did go to their house, and I do know he was saying people in like North Texas have been out of power for a while. I don't know if that concurs with what y'all been hearing.
Yeah, it is.
BMT.
Cedar Hill and DeSoto are predominantly African American community. Cedar Hill is much more diverse than DeSoto. DeSoto is definitely a very high-end African American community. DeSoto had power. The high-end black community had power. People were going to DeSoto for warmth who lived in Cedar Hill.
But you all, DeSoto probably had better elected officials too than some of these places.
elected
DeSoto is a smaller community that's more vested, I would say. So they probably work together better as far as the local government and so forth. From what I've seen,
more responsible people probably there. More responsible people in government, because I mean, some of these places let anybody get up and run the government.
Like I said, that black Democrat, he's gone. They kicking his ass out after this.
But don't forget Eric Johnson. Eric Johnson was the first one to call for an investigation, and Greg Abbott agreed with Eric Johnson, the Democrat.
Now, do you all think that Greg Abbott is going to face some blowback for this?
Fuck yeah! They get rid of that motherfucker. The fuck? They ain't giving that dude. Yeah, his ass is gone.
Well, I mean, he's a Republican, so
he's gone. It don't matter. He's gone. He's done.
If Beto runs for governor, it will be an epic battle. Unlike Wendy Davis, that some people said, I never want a woman as a governor again because of Ann Richardson. Beto don't have that problem. Beto don't have that problem.
No.
Beto went around to the little areas.
Let me ask this question because I heard that this storm was actually predicted. The polar vortex was predicted literally last week, and they were actually expecting it for last week. So it was actually predicted like 2 weeks ago, almost 2 weeks ago.
Right.
And I'm trying to figure out how come we're hearing such horror stories, because my cousin stays in Fort Worth, Texas, and his electricity happened to be on because he's on the same circuit with the fire department. Mm-hmm. But the point is, I'm trying to figure out how come we're, because a big part of the country got these sub-zero temperatures that they're not used to, but we're hearing all these horror stories out of Texas.
Yeah, I heard. I heard the state of Texas only had 30 snow plows, the DOT.
Yeah, the infrastructure, we don't, the resources and infrastructure wasn't prepared for this.
Right.
They just wasn't.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, every time, I'm going to say this, we were voting for a $40 million, because Houston floods really, really, really easily. They were trying to get a $40 million infrastructure to improve flooding. And they didn't vote it. They voted it down. Amend around. They voted it down. So it's an infrastructure issue.
Was that on a local, like at a city level or a state level?
That was on a local level. That was a city
level.
Okay.
That was within their power.
Yeah.
And they dropped that
Houston
ball.
Isn't Houston predominantly like
minority, essentially?
It's primarily Hispanic and white, and it's about.
Oh, okay. So that's so that's Republican leaning. More.
It doesn't matter.
No,
it doesn't matter.
Why it's like y'all trying to make it about like right now.
No, well, I don't care about that. No. I'll take that back. Let me take it back.
That's why I said it's good to have the Texans allow them to talk about what's going on in their backyard because everybody. This is why I said it's better to ask the kid who lives in the house what's going on in his house versus everybody think they know what's going on. Because like what I hear people talk
understand is Greg Abbott is we got two different types of conservatives. We have the Tea Party, libertarian type, I should say three. The libertarian type conservative that want to be hillbilly, Ruby Ridge, Waco conservatives.
Right.
Then we have the Tea Party. The only thing they want is Washington to get out of their pockets. They believe in states' rights. Hoorah!
Ted Cruz.
Nichelle, which one is most numerous out of those three?
Believe it or not.
The business conservative.
Yes, the country club Republicans are the most, they control, at the end of the day, he who controls the dollar.
So they're most influential, even though they may not be most numerous.
Most influential, like Doug Deason. I work with Doug Deason to get the First Step Act passed. He told me to my face, he said, I know you hate Candace Owens, but she's bringing in a lot of white female conservatives.
That's funny that she's doing that, but you don't have like a white female who can do the same thing, if not better.
You need somebody that can connect to the people.
I've had white conservative women tell me that Candace Owens knows black men better than I do. So if she's afraid of them,
she does.
What are you talking? Wait, what?
She does. I don't know about that.
But they're her people. She knows her people better than I do.
Wait, they said she knows black men better than you do.
Yes. No, better than she does. Not me.
Oh, okay. They just see that. Okay, they just see she's black, so she assumes.
Why not? Everyone else does it.
Candace is telling the truth about the black community. Now, if I came on and said black people are the most resourceful people I've ever seen, I didn't see photographs of black men jumping out of buildings during the Great Depression. My grandmother was in college during the Great Depression. So you want to tell me again about the difference between black people and white people and what Candace Owens knows? I'm a member of Delta Sigma Theta. I grew up in the African Methodist Episcopal Church. I minored in African American Studies at Duke University. I studied under Reginald Gates. So please tell me how Candace Owens is an expert on the black community. And if there's no racism, no racism, why do you still refer to it as the black community? Because as soon as black people move in, you move out.
But Nichelle or D. Darrell, let me ask you this then. Do they get a lot of support from black men, the conservative party in Texas?
What I'm going to say is that it's
talking about conservatives or we talking about Texas?
Steadily rising. It's
okay.
It's not significant support, but it's gradually growing. That's what I've seen.
Okay, no, the reason
I'm trying to figure out what. Okay, so we're acting about conservatives.
Well, the reason I asked that. I'm trying to figure out
why.
I asked that BMT because Nichelle said that that woman said that Candace Owens knows black men better than she does. So I was thinking they're trying to appeal to them, and I was just wondering if it was working.
Okay, but here's the thing about it right now. Now, I granted, but I know a lot of people are hung up on conservatives. I even read a message how people saying, well, look how the conservatives are about this. Right now, you got it with the Democrats that are trying to figure out this stuff, just like the Republicans, on, oh, shit, I think we overblew our load on this one. And right now, the people in Texas, from what I'm talking to on 5 different panels, they do not like either side because right now, neither side is really worth a fuck. Right now, so
I'm going to say it like this. Joe, don't forget that local races are municipal races, and they're supposedly nonpartisan.
Supposed to be.
Eric Johnson, who was very active when he was a state representative as a Democrat, has literally cussed the Democrat Party out.
Wait, you say Gary Johnson?
No. Eric.
Oh, Eric. Okay.
The mayor up in he's a Kappa. He's a Kappa in Dallas. And aren't you a Kappa, Darrell?
No, I never pledged.
Now the thing about it is this. This is the thing the thing about it that I'm pushing at twin math. Okay. The thing about it is this. Listen, That was I get people are banging that racial shit and all that stuff. I guess that's this part of YouTube and shit. But right now, y'all gonna need some solutions. Y'all gonna need all the help y'all can get.
Yep.
And
Because
so,
I heard it was going to be cold like that till Friday or Saturday. That's what one person I talked to said.
It's
came up
actually going to
because
be
I have
done
a
by
question.
tomorrow. In Houston, it's going to be.
I came up here because I have a question.
Okay, he was in Fort Worth, D. Darrell.
okay.
Oh, he's in
So
Fort Worth. Oh, that's different. Okay.
I came up because I have a legitimate question.
okay, what's up?
We're listening.
How was this on Democrats when that entire state government is run by Republicans?
What? What do you mean? What do you mean? What part is
Nobody
run?
said that.
No,
Yeah.
no, no, no. What we're saying is we're equally upset with everybody.
Yeah.
That-
Why? The
Because-
governor of Texas did nothing. He tried to blame it on wind turbines and solar panels when that makes up 10% of the power grid in Texas. You want to know what the problem is in Texas? You want to know what the problem is in Texas?
Let him finish. Let him finish.
The power grid in Texas isn't connected to the national power grid. The power grid in Texas is failing right now because it's not federally regulated. That's why it's failing. They did a piss poor job there, and instead of actually blaming themselves, they're blaming everything else.
Yeah. Let me tell you how much an electrician. Let me tell you how much an electrician makes in Texas. That's why I'm here in California working with like 5 Texan electricians. They make $22 an hour in a lot of places in Texas.
How much they make in California, Super Mike?
Like
what does
50?
that have to do with the
74.
national? What does that have to do with their whole grid, though?
Let me tell you what that has to do with that, because nobody wants to work in Texas.
I hear what
You're not going to get the most skilled and the most proficient labor talent in that state, because it
So
pays.
wouldn't that be the governor's job to do that, to make sure that happens, to make sure the upgrades to their grid is actually happening?
Not to mention, I'm
sure the governor there.
That has been
Let me answer that other
delegated.
question.
That's been delegated. You asked a question. You asked a question. That has been delegated to the Energy Responsibility Council of Texas.
We literally read about that. We literally just went over that.
You're right. You're right.
Okay. They make
but again,
$74 in California.
They do have a
and the
governor,
weather's
correct?
nicer. I'm sure out there better. I'm sure the weather's better to work in too out there, Super Mike.
But why
Versus the Texas
are
heat.
we blaming? Why are we blaming this
no,
council?
that's
Why are
about
we
the
looking
same.
everywhere else? They have a
It's about the
governor.
same.
Why isn't the governor making sure these things are being done? Why is he leaving it up to a
Governor in
council?
Texas he can only issue executive orders. He can only sign bills and issue executive orders that are valid for 30 days. The governor of
So
Texas.
how's that limited government working for you there?
Wait. So you wait.
Well,
Wait.
it's not
Yeah,
about
it's
it
a
being
culture.
limited. It's about being functional.
It's a
And-
culture.
Obviously, it's not functioning if the governor has no power to upgrade your power grid.
You don't understand the nature of the governor of Texas is not as powerful as other governors in other states, and that's by design.
But do you see how that's a problem?
Wait.
Do you see how that's a problem?
No, it's not.
The governor, you're basically telling me. Actually, it is. You got people in Texas right now cold and dying. Do you see how that's a problem? The governor can't do anything, and you're telling me that that's not a problem.
Hold on, that's any governor. Any governor.
No, it's not.
No, that's
No, it's not.
Wait, D.
You just
Darrell.
said, hold up. Y'all just sat here and said by design the governor is not as powerful as other governors in other states.
But he can declare a state of emergency and all this,
yeah.
can't
So
he?
why hasn't he done that?
30 days. Executive order. The governor has done that. The governor has declared a state of emergency. We have petitioned the federal government for FEMA funds. Joe Biden signed the order today.
Right.
So
That thing was already called into the White House a while back. That was already called. That was already. Hold on. First of all, but you came up here, you were saying that we were saying that this is the Democrat fault. Nobody said that this was the Democratic fault. Nobody said that. We already went over about the power issue.
I must have misheard you, and I apologize for that.
It's okay.
I'll apologize for that.
Okay,
But
so
I don't understand how this is not a defeat. Like, if I live in a state and I pay taxes,
they're definitely. We talked about that. They're definitely blaming Abbott for that. That's what I asked D. Darrell in the show.
we agreed that that's Abbott.
We're upset.
This is my thing. The governor of a state is supposed to be prepared for situations like this. Now, anybody in a leadership position, BMT, you served, I'm currently serving. We must prepare. We must have a plan and a contingency plan for everything we do in the military. Correct, BMT?
Right,
It
but
looks
this is
like they
not the
did
but this
absolutely nothing, bruh.
this is not the military. This first of all, this is not the military. Second of all, we've already went over. This is why we have Texans up here right now. Literally, we went over the back history, which we read it on another thing. I think y'all came in late. That literally this has happened before with Texas when literally they had a snow issue at the airport. Mind you, this has happened in '96. This also happened in '89. We
80,
so,
yeah.
so the fact that that you're seeing that there's a pattern that every few so many years Texas gets hit with an unbearable snowstorm.
Yep.
However, they
Well,
haven't
it's
made
not
a
just them though.
but hang on. But let's focus on this. They haven't
Right.
made any type of progress of a plan that literally can actually get this handled.
Yeah, that's why I
thank
was surprised about the snow plows because I know Fort Worth gets hit and it gets hit with a good snow or ice storm at least once a year. It seems
Right.
like.
Right.
So
But
it's
the
a,
plan
it's,
And thank you, Cole
Yeah,
just said Cole just said it right there. They said they are mad at both Repub and Dems. So literally the
but it's
Texans, the
culture.
Texans, the Texans in that are there, both sides that, and mind you, I've spoken to all different sides that are in Texas, and I talked about this in the back chat with some other people. Hey, I'm going to go grab people who live there and hear from their voice. Right now, they don't give a shit about politics. Only thing that they're caring about is, yo, I'm not getting taken care of. Right now, people are playing God with the with the power. Blue zones suck ass. So whoever's talking about fossil fuel is funny because the only thing that's keeping them alive right now is fossil fuel. That's the only thing that's keeping these people that are still going. Is the
That's
fossil fuel.
not what I read, BMT. What I read
No,
is that a lot of these facilities, nuclear, natural gas, a lot of these facilities, they're freezing up, and that's why they're having the problems
okay,
they're having.
okay. So
Natural
what?
gas, I
That's what
heard.
I read.
I
Okay,
did read natural gas was a big issue. I mean,
okay. So okay. When somebody jumps in a car and has to keep you, but I just played the video where people are jumping
Right.
in cars from. You
Yeah.
saw that, Super Mike. They're literally
Yeah.
using cars to keep themselves afloat. Like they're using the
Yeah.
same thing that they're being told not to use. They are using to survive.
They have to.
Like
Can
D
I
Durrell
say
in the show
something?
just said that. Like literally, they're catching frostbite and cold just to go in their
Right.
cars or different other
Can I
things.
and I've heard
can
that
I
Because
say
they're
they've set up
being
Can
warming
I say
centers too.
something?
They ain't
Can I
got no
say
damn warm
something?
center. Them damn shit suck.
Can I say
And you have to
something?
drive to get there.
Oh,
Can I say something?
go ahead, Koja. What's going on, Koja?
Wasn't it Dallas that the planning was so poor they paved over all of the stuff that resulted in the flooding because the planning there was so poor? They made surfaces impermeable to water so the water would recede and soak into the earth. Wasn't that the poor planning of Dallas that they did? So why, if that planning was so poor, would they leave those same people in power to make the determinations over the grids and stuff like that? And I know that's on city level and state level, but ain't Texas Republican? Ain't
No,
everything
and
there?
that's
No.
tell people.
Why is
Hello,
that-
people. Can I say this one more time? That
Mhm.
the major cities in Texas are Democrat. The major
Right. That means
true.
what? Who do they answer to? Who do they answer
They
to?
just said it's
Who do
Democrat.
they get their money
Hold
from?
on, man. See, we're trying to make this
Hold on,
Democratic.
hold on.
Republican
Okay.
vote.
You're, it's
Yeah,
not
why y'all-
about
wait,
no,
wait,
bro.
wait, wait,
Because
wait.
what we're not
I'm
gonna
just
do,
saying, I
what we're
just
not gonna
remember
do
the
is
Hold on.
blame
planning being
Dallas
No.
and
so
blame a
poor
large
in
city.
Dallas.
Hold on.
Okay.
They
Can I
I just
say
remember
planned
that
this
the
real
for
quick?
it
planning
in
was
that
so
Excuse
state.
me.
poor.
Excuse me, you asked the question. How do cities in Dallas, Texas get their money? One, property taxes. Property
Property tax
taxes.
that's paid to who?
Two,
Stop.
property taxes are paid to the local government. You
The
pay
local
property
government.
taxes to the independent school district. You pay taxes to the county, parent count, like the county, what do you call it? Junior college level. You pay
Yeah.
taxes to the cities. You
Gotcha.
pay taxes to the counties. You do not
That
pay
money goes
state
where?
property taxes.
And
And
that's
when the city collects that money, where do they send that? Where's the
They
next
keep
level that
all
money
of
goes
that
to?
money. Excuse me, all property tax money stays.
So you
with-
mean to tell me these
But
cities
y'all-
get no money
y'all-
from the state?
y'all
These
are
cities
making
get
this
no
a
money from the state. They're
Again,
their own independent
Some of these
entities that
guys
can do
don't
whatever they
understand
want.
Texas
hold on,
politics.
can you
hold on,
let
hold
me
on.
finish?
I
Can you let
understand
me
you don't want to
finish?
get
Yeah.
the Republican
Wait,
governor
twin,
those votes.
twin. You're
Can you let
asking
me
a
Waste of
finish?
question.
time.
You're asking a question, and there you have people who live there. They're telling you
Guys, they
how
don't
they're doing.
Telling
understand Texas politics.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
the
But
state of Texas has an 8.5% highest tax rate that you can charge. The
Who?
cities
Wait, say that again.
8.5.
I'm sorry.
The
What was
state of
the
Texas has
place?
one of the
Okay.
highest sales tax in the United States.
and
Okay.
some high property taxes too.
And property tax.
But
Yes.
they
Let
don't take they don't yeah, they
let
don't
the
take taxes out of your check, do they?
hold on.
No.
No,
Please let the
Okay.
Texans. This is the thing that y'all are trying to do. Let the
Texans
Texans who
pay.
live there explain
We
to you.
pay out of the 8.5, which is the maximum. The local cities get up to 2.5 of the 8.5 tax. The 6% goes to run the state government. But if you buy a car, you have to pay your registration on your car. That goes to the state of Texas. Your sales part of your sales tax on luxury items such as motor vehicles, jewelry, and things like that. Part of that, again, 6% of that goes to the state government. So we really run off of sales taxes in Texas. So that's why they needed to keep the economy going, is because the state of Texas needs sales tax to keep going.
And
I-
property
Vehicle
tax.
registration.
I was
find
gonna
this
say
case-
too, aren't they? I was gonna say too,
I
aren't
find
they
this
gonna be
absolutely
responsible for the grid at the state level too?
Yes, and that's paid
Dang.
again. Look at your electric bill. There's
Wow.
a
I
tax
find this
on your
absolutely
electric.
crazy. This absolutely so basically, if I'm hearing you correctly, the state government, I'm talking about the governor, the state house, where somewhere in your analysis, some of this money goes, these cities don't answer to the governor at all. These cities can just do whatever they want.
You do know how independent Texas is, right? You do know how.
So-
No,
so-
no,
well,
no,
B-
bruh.
BMT,
So you
someone
mean
did.
to tell me these Dallas,
You literally.
Houston, San Antonio, they can just do whatever they want. They ain't got to answer to the governor. They got to answer to the
do you-
state
No,
house. They ain't
have
got
you
to
not
follow the laws.
heard?
They ain't got to do anything.
Let me finish
You're
right
not.
now.
Why are
Let
you?
me finish.
How are you questioning
Okay,
Texans?
I'm asking the question because
You
what
don't
she's saying
understand.
No,
makes
you
no
won't let
sense.
anybody answer your question. Don't say
It
you're
makes no
asking a
sense.
question. Excuse me. Don't say you're asking a question and then interrupt with stuff you don't know about. That as far as
Excuse me,
Dallas
ma'am. First
County
things
goes,
first, you cut
excuse
me
me,
off and I wasn't done talking. Secondly,
you were asking a question. I answered your question.
secondly,
While
I've
you're
never been
talking,
to
I will
any
listen.
state
You
in
ask
this.
a
I've
question,
never
I
been
will
to a
answer.
state in the union where a city doesn't answer to the governor. I don't care if it's
I
Texas.
know quite
I
a
don't
few.
care if it's Iowa. At the end of the day, if something's going on in the state and the governor says this has to happen, it's gonna fucking happen. Stop
Detroit,
giving us this bullshit.
Detroit,
At the end of the
Detroit
day,
did their own damn thing.
the governor
that's
there
not true.
and that state
That ain't
wasn't
true.
prepared. Stop trying to blame
No.
Dallas and the
No,
local
that's
government.
not true.
Let me answer this question one more
She,
time.
Detroit didn't even have a goddamn mayor.
Can
Like
I answer
shit.
this
No.
question one more time?
Wait,
Let's
don't
talk
bring
about
Detroit in
trying
it.
to blame
Don't
the
put
mayor of
Detroit in
Dallas.
it. Come on now.
He's trying to
Someone
blame the
Stop
mayor of
that.
Dallas for the state power
knows
grid.
nothing
Guys,
about
can
the
y'all
Texas
let
Constitution.
Michelle speak?
We ain't going live.
Wait, Nichelle. Someone said in the chat that it was Blue Monster. He said the citizens wanted weed and Abbott blocked it. Is that true?
This is the way it works. Places like Dallas, they have said that it is a non-punishable offense. That if you have a joint or two on you, the police are authorized not to arrest you. They will not. It's an executive order. What happened was basically the bill to do recreational. We do have cannabis. We do not have recreational use of marijuana. But what we do have, every local city can sit up there and say, and the county levels can say, we're not prosecuting that offense. So the DAs have prosecutorial discretion. So in places like Dallas, especially, Tarrant County is now leaning to that direction. If you have personal use marijuana, you will not be prosecuted. My daughters got caught with a pound and they were not prosecuted.
A pound?
Damn.
Yeah.
It's considered personal use.
I don't
Personal
believe you for 1 second.
It was in a
I don't
brownie.
believe you for 1 second.
Oh, okay.
I don't believe that shit for 1 second.
Why?
Because you're an idiot. Because you're an idiot.
I'm
You
an
sound like
idiot.
you're
A pound.
people. You sound
Recreational
like
use
you're
in a pound is different.
Somebody can sit
Recreational
up
use
there.
in a pound is different. You
I
up there
said they
lying.
have
Ain't nobody
prosecutorial
get kept caught with a
discretion.
pound of weed
Did I
and
sit
didn't
up
get
there?
prosecuted.
Did I sit up there and say I said they have prosecutorial discretion? If a
Yes,
prosecutor decides
prosecutors
not
have
to
always had
prosecute, what the hell
prosecutorial
are you going to
discretion.
do
What are you
about it?
talking about?
I said, for example, I said
Oh my
Tarrant
God,
County is coming on board, but the prosecutor has.
I love when
Do you
smart,
not
dumb people
understand
think
one
they know
thing?
more than me. It's funny.
Do you not
Prosecutors have
understand
always had
one thing? Do you not
prosecutorial
understand?
discretion.
My name is the attorney Nichelle Foster. I got
Yeah, but
credentials.
you're trying to school me on something I already know. Attorney Nichelle Foster. I
What do
already
you
know.
know?
This.
How you
What
gonna know more than a
statute do you know
expert?
about? What
Because
statute
I
and
already
case do
know
you
that
know about?
I
Look,
already
School
know a
me.
prosecutor
School
has
me.
this is where
discretion
I
on what they
lose.
want
School
to
This is where I
prosecute.
lose.
How you gonna argue?
I already know a
you know,
prosecutor has
You don't
discretion
know
on what
shit.
they
You
want to
don't know
prosecute.
it.
Hey,
When
BMT,
I already
I
knew
see
that.
why
He doesn't
you.
have
I
to tell
see
me
why
that.
you.
Stop it,
You
man.
trying to get
Just
out of the
stop.
algorithm.
Stop, bro.
you see why I left algorithm
Bro,
for
you don't know what you're
Nah,
talking
bro.
about.
It's like what I don't like too is when people try to insult my intelligence. I already know
You
this.
don't have any intelligence. I
I'm
can sit up
actually
here and
smarter than
call
you.
my
I'm
daughter up
actually
here and
smarter
say,
than you.
I
You
had,
said
I
the
had
governor
10 pounds.
doesn't have control of his goddamn state.
Nichelle,
He doesn't have control of his
wait,
city.
twin. Let me ask Nichelle. Let me ask you
You
a question.
actually said that on a goddamn live stream. The
Brother,
governor doesn't have control
brother,
of Dallas.
You don't understand Texas politics.
He doesn't. You don't
about-
What the hell?
What you talking
understand
about?
I have a
I am
question.
sitting
What
up
does
here.
Dallas have to do with
Excuse
the
me,
power
shut
grid, the
up.
state power
Please
grid?
shut up. Please
You
shut up.
shut the fuck up. Don't tell me to shut up. I
Well,
was trying to be
BMT,
respectful.
man.
Don't
Shut up
tell
and
me to
let
shut
somebody
up.
else
I
talk.
gotta let twin. I gotta let you go, man. I gotta let you go. Come on, man.
She ain't gonna be disrespectful, bruh.
Come
You
on, I
are
gotta
a
let you go.
disrespectful
I gotta
person
let
from the time you
You
came on this
Hang on,
panel.
come
You need
on. Now listen,
okay.
Okay,
Okay,
now
for
listen.
everyone who wants to hear how Dallas operates
No,
with the governor.
it's
Clay
listen.
Jenkins. I don't know if y'all heard about
Let her
blind
explain,
justice.
BMT. Let her
Okay,
explain.
go ahead.
Okay,
Calm
blind justice. Greg Abbott said all beauty shops need to stay closed. Then Clay Jenkins said, you know something? You're right, and we're going to prosecute anybody who has a non-essential shop open. This one woman, I forget her name, Shirley something or other, decided to defy everything. She decided to defy everything. Eric Johnson sat up there and said, I know you guys are suffering, but you know, Dallas, the police, we really don't want the police to arrest this woman. The sheriff sent his men out to arrest the woman. When the governor found out the woman had been arrested on his order, he said, I can't release her. I can't do anything. The Supreme Court had to order her to be released from jail.
Is this the same lady who got the PPP money and then went to jail?
Yeah.
But
the
judge I thought the judge wanted to keep her in jail, and Abbott found out,
She was
got
right
arrested.
out.
He got arrested under my order, and he said, "Oh, let me back away. I didn't mean for it to go this far."
He did back away. He did back away and opened up the salons. But the Texas Supreme Court met in special session. Everyone's still mad about that. I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican. They met in special session. This woman was sentenced to 7 days in jail. People are waiting.
Served like 2.
Yes. People have been waiting for months, years for the Texas Supreme Court to rule on their case. And the Texas Supreme Court, because Abbott couldn't do anything, they ordered her release. They ordered the judge to vacate his order.
The thing about it is this, y'all. Listen, I purposely, and I'm thankful, like I said, I sat down and I said I was going to, you saw me, Renaissance Man. I said I was going to go grab Texans to have a discussion with. I talked to Nichelle. I am thankful D. Darrell. I did not even think to go get D. Darrell. But these two are high earners in the state of Texas. Who better to ask two professionals in business that literally will know, hey, this is what's happening. This was going on the law side. This is what's going on the people side. All that. And not only that, I've been talking to people from whites, the Hispanics, different people, white, Democrat. I didn't care. But right now, they are equally mad at their politicians. I'm not trying to make it like, well, this is this one side, but I just told you that
it's going to get worse.
It's going to get a lot worse.
Insurance companies.
Wait, say that again?
Who's down? It's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. Who's down in Houston? You know how many people got their insurance claim denied because it was an act of God?
Right.
Oh, I was going to say, if you have, I'm sure, like if your house, if pipes bursted, they consider that flooding of your house.
How?
Woo!
Good luck with
Matter
that
of
one,
fact,
buddy.
it's funny
No,
you
because
said
no,
that because
because no,
I had a contract. A guy that worked for me just talked to me today about pipes bursting. I had a guy today that I talked to that does my billing and coding. He talked
That's
to me
him.
today when I was trying to get some things taken care of with Medicare, and he was distracted trying to deal with the fact that his pipes burst and he has to make a claim.
yeah, but that happened in Katrina too, and a bunch of people got denied because flood insurance you have to be in a flood zone to get.
Again,
And a bunch of claims got denied in that because they said, hey, the wind destroyed this, not the
Well,
water.
I'm gonna say this: I had pipes that burst, not due to a hurricane or nothing like that, but I had pipes. My previous house that I had the pipes. I had some pipes that burst. I had no problem getting reimbursed for $20,000 worth of work, so I ain't have any issues. So I can't. I can only draw from my experience, but the when I filed my claim, everything went seamlessly. I didn't have any issues. Things were taken care of within a
But
matter of 2
was
weeks.
yours
But there
caused
was
by an
no
act of God?
big,
Was yours
yeah,
caused by an act of
yeah.
God? That's
No, it
that's going to
was.
be the difference.
I
yeah,
don't know
that's what I'm
I don't
saying.
know how it happened, but it the
See,
pipes broke.
and that's why I'm saying, like, listen, listen, when it with like, okay, like for
Real.
my
People,
for my brother living up in Massachusetts, right? We have a house up in Massachusetts. When they found out that the hurricane that was in the south was heading up to the north and would reach
Right.
Massachusetts, motherfuckers were like, we don't have insurance for that. Because nobody ever
yeah,
sees a hurricane going
exactly.
to New York and Massachusetts.
Right.
I mean, maybe
Right.
that's not something that is what we call an act of God. If a tornado
Yeah.
would have somehow land in doggone New York City, nobody got
Right.
insurance for that shit. They'll be like,
Did, didn't
how
the
do we write this down as a claim? You don't,
mm,
because you just shit out of luck. Now, if it's something that happens from snow, which literally, now mind you, and if y'all live up north, they can't cut off your power. They cannot cut off your power
In
in
winter
the event,
months.
right? Because that can literally that's literally in the can interfere with
murder?
even if you don't pay your goddamn bill, they still can't cut that thing off. I'm telling you right now, it like literally ain't nothing you can do. Like you literally have to say, hey, it's too freezing cold. They could die, and I promise you get caught shutting that shit off. Your ass will go to jail. The property manager will go to jail because you literally
Right.
could be charged for that. Now going further with here, what we're looking at right here with Texas. This is why a lot of us who live in either northeastern areas, we're seeing it as wait, why are they cutting off their power? Because we're in a different
Yeah.
area of
Exactly.
lifestyle than them. So for us hearing that, wait, they're cutting off their power. They're playing like on and off with power. That's dangerous because we understand how that can go. But for them, as they already seen three times out of their, it's like once out of 30 or 40 years, this happens to them. And so because that is
Not.
unnatural, well, you got
Mm,
to because look at it,
right. Right.
1996,
And,
1996
Right.
and
Right. Right.
2021.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
and you
Right.
got COVID going on in the middle of all this too. That's
right.
compounded everything.
So I,
Well.
I don't.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
don't want to. I don't want to say. That's why I said it's hard for us to tell the people who live there that it's the Republican fault. It's the Democrat fault. Right now, they don't
Yeah.
give a.
That was.
They don't give a
Yeah.
That's why I
shit.
say
Nobody
it's a
cares.
clusterfuck. That's why I
They
say
don't
it's
give a shit because right now they're
a
like, yo,
clusterfuck.
right. This is more so of a local issue. Like, yo, like you just heard from them both, and I've been hearing from a lot of people. Like,
Right.
yo, after this
Yeah.
shit, if whoever survives, there will be reforms on how this power shit gets used.
Wait,
They,
but how is that a local issue though? If it's going to be if the state's going to be responsible for the grid?
well, see,
You
here's the
see,
thing.
look.
Go ahead,
Go ahead. No,
Mike. Go
no. The
ahead,
only
Mike.
thing I was gonna say is, I mean, I just was listening to Twin, and I know his tone was kind of
Off.
combative, but I think from what he was saying, he made some good points. But it kind of seems to me like there's a culture because if you in Texas where they're proud of being independent and
Independent.
everything,
Right.
but right in these situations, they consistently, like you said, every 30 years they don't learn from this lesson, right? I mean, every so often you're going to need, and just like Nichelle earlier said, how the police just looked at her daughter or what have you stuck, but who helped her? Those little thugs from the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? They pushed her car out. And then somebody said that they had to go over somebody's house to stay. Remember what we was talking about a few months ago when Tennessee had that explosion? And we was talking about how, when the so-called day of judgment happens or what have you. And I was just saying how, like, this is how it goes. It's a series of events. It's not like one thing and everybody's dead. It's like stuff like this, like hurricanes, like little things that happen. And people, it's not going to be your guns that save you. It's going to be your relationships with other people. That's what's going to save you. You see what I'm saying? And so that culture.
So this is the time. The culture in Texas is very much. They wanted to limit. They wanted to limit the power of the governor since time of Reconstruction.
Exactly.
Well, I was going to say too, Nichelle, when you say culture, the people I've talked to say there's about 7 different cultures in Texas.
Yeah.
I guess from a regional standpoint.
Yeah, regional standpoint. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I'm just saying overall, though, there's a big Lone Star State. Like, we do it alone. Like, they was talking about, I think one of the recent first ones talking about, we don't like this federal thing going on. We are about to secede. You know what I'm saying? It was that kind of thing. Like you said, their grid is separate. And then from what I hear, just from in the working circles, they hate the unions. They hate, all this kind of stuff. They got low wages.
You do understand Texas was a country of its own and it has treaties with the United States that differs from other states. So it's a difference. Mm-hmm. So this whole thing with
the only reason I brought up Democrat versus Republican was to let people understand that your local government is a nonpartisan race that occurs in the spring, whereas the partisan races in Texas occur in November. That our local governments were responsible for the immediate emergency relief and aid, and there was a lot of jurisdictional back and forth. I don't care if it's Republican or Democrat. It was jurisdictional.
Do you think the local failed? Because I guess I don't know about the response.
The local, in my opinion, the local governments failed.
That's what I was trying to say. Like,
but what do they do to fail? Because obviously the power grid's not working. I think we can all agree that's more of a state issue. What did the local governments not do?
The local governments did things like, for one, they were slow to open up shelters. They instructed the police to issue tickets to people that were on the roads for non-essential reasons.
Like, that's what I'm trying to tell y'all. That's what I was trying to tell y'all. Like, listen, some places operate differently than how your place will operate. Okay, so like for South Carolina, when shit went awry with COVID, some of the towns, like the town I live in, said, fuck waiting for local government. Like, one house got turned into a midwife house. Another after that, the men, we all came together, whether it didn't matter what race you were, and we just formed, we all just deputized. Like, we called up Hank, say, yo, we're all deputizing, whether you like it or not. All right, everybody come here, who all has a rifle. All right, you're all deputized. Now we're the law. Do you understand? Some laws of how some towns operate within their own self-entity.
That's why we get that, BMT. I think that's
the thing about it. Like, Texas has always been like that. They always So that's what I'm trying to say. Tell y'all. Like, that's why. Go ahead.
But I was going to ask though, like to the two Texas panelists, is that mentality rooted in more of the white Texans, or is it all Texans kind of think like that, even the minorities, black ones?
Minorities, trust me, minorities are mad that they tapped off their wells in a town that's just in the border of Dallas County. They capped off their wells. They told them they had to come to modern times. They couldn't use well water anymore.
Did we not just talk about that, Nichelle? Did we not just talk about when I was saying like how my grandma and them, they were still on well water. They were still on well water. So even after Hurricane Hugo, I'm not sure if some of y'all remember Hurricane Hugo, when some people did not have water, the people who were in the old country that were getting water from the ground that was still part of the old system. When we walked inside grandma's house, mama's house, we heard the water running, and we're like, "Wait, how?"
Yeah, yeah.
And she was like,
So
"Well, I never
and don't
got
forget,
off the old system."
no,
I
I
never
was
got.
going to say,
in
Nichelle,
a
the
lot
only
of the
reason.
older houses in Texas, they still have the gas powered furnace.
Right.
You know that.
Yeah. No, I
So
was going to say the reason I
A
asked that,
wood burning
Michelle,
stove.
was just because I mean I see it more. I see obviously I don't see many. I see obviously people who are white with the "Don't Tread on Me" flags, things like that. So I know where they are politically. I just didn't know if people who are minorities followed that same philosophy. That's the only reason I was asking.
Where do you think?
they
Wait,
are
wait.
very much. They are very
Well, it's
much.
not just them.
It's
Yeah,
not
Where do
just
you?
don't tread on me. It's more like
yeah.
I'm not my grandfather. You
Well,
know,
my
I'm not.
question is, where do you assume that people with "Don't Tread on Me" flags fall politically?
More libertarian more than
conservative.
anything.
They're Republican.
I think
No,
more
they're not.
libertarian.
Actually, Renaissance man's actually closer. They're more libertarian and constitutionalist.
Yeah, they're all about independent and listen. Like, hey, don't fuck with me. I won't fuck with you. You leave me be
Yeah.
on my lane, and I'll leave you be on my lane. Like they're
Exactly.
not. They are more like, yo, just leave me the fuck alone. Like
And
you
they're
don't come on
very
my
much a
property.
Texan.
Well, see,
That's
that's
their
that.
line.
But see, isn't it kind of thing? Are we seeing that may be a problem in some circumstances, right?
Well, see,
With this here,
The problem is infrastructure, and
But I think that's what Super Mike is getting at is that mentality and philosophy problematic when you start talking about things that need cooperation like infrastructure.
Right.
Well,
Right.
it needs to be upgraded.
Well,
it needs to be upgraded.
I don't. With my, if you don't mind, I will.
go ahead.
Personally, I think that if people were allowed to be self-sufficient and self-sustaining, we might actually have less of that. Like if you were allowed to put windmills up in your backyard and have, solar panels and actually have a battery bank where you can actually generate.
You can't put solar panels on your house in Texas?
You can.
Well, I don't know how it is. I don't know how it is down there, but some states there's regulations.
Oh, I thought you were in Texas. Okay, I thought you were in Texas.
No, I'm in Indiana. I'm just stating in general. I know there's a lot of things like you ain't allowed to collect rainwater. You ain't allowed to.
Whoa, who said that? When?
No, you cannot collect rainwater.
You cannot collect rainwater.
Really?
You cannot.
What?
Yeah, that's against the law in some areas.
How the hell can they regulate? Stop somebody from collecting rain?
Welcome
man?
to America, buddy. Welcome to America.
See what I'm saying? See.
Calm down, Mike. Mike, I knew that blew your mind, Mike. I knew that blew your mind.
How they get away
No,
with
seriously.
it is because
How can they do that?
Because the way they regulate is because it becomes stagnant.
Around. We have code enforcement that goes around, and they will use binoculars if they have to check out your backyard.
So even people in the rule can't even do that.
How do they justify that? How do they justify
because the water will stagnate and it'll produce pests like mosquitoes and shit like that. It actually encourages this, pest growth.
Yep.
Oh, that's how they justify.
But I'm sure but you can put like windmills and stuff out like that in the shell in Texas, can't you? Like in your backyard if you live in the rural area.
In the rural
area, to be off
areas,
the grid, I would imagine so because I figured that. Wait, go ahead.
It would depend on the county. It would depend on the county and how tall they are.
Now, if you do that in a shell, are you allowed to separate yourself completely from the power grid, or do you still have to be attached to it and sell them whatever back power you get?
Again, it depends on which county, because I'm saying this, it goes county by county. The rules get so murky.
Exactly.
Right.
When I said we have an 8.25 tax, I live on the border of Dallas County and Tarrant County. The Walmart in Tarrant County, but in Grand Prairie, they charge 8.5. The Walmart in Arlington charges 8.25. So, because they have the right, they have the discretion, and Texans hate taxes. So the conservative side was much more, 0.25, of a penny.
It doesn't sound like
a quarter of a penny.
But it depends. But
if you go buy something big, it'll make a difference, like a car or something.
Right. So it was a big deal in Arlington I used to go shop in Arlington because if I was buying something big because it was cheaper in Arlington than on the Dallas side. So you can shift policies so dramatically just by crossing a street. That's the weird thing about Texas. You have a lot of elected officials. I've told Joe this before on the conservative side that are not highly educated. They may have a college degree. They may have used the GI Bill or whatever the hell it's called. After they couldn't afford to go to college, they were not physically fit enough to play college football, basketball, hockey even, and they were not intellectually smart enough to win an academic scholarship. So they went into the military, got out of the military, and that's the first thing you'll see if anyone is running for office in Texas on the conservative
Military.
side.
Military experience.
Right.
Hey,
I'm not bashing y'all, but
it's all right.
literally,
It's all right. I know. I already know. Like once you say that M word around in Texas, boy, you become Jesus. You can walk the plains of
I am
everything.
trying to tell you that they set up there. I'm friends with Democrats. Don't get me wrong. Good friends with a lot of Democrats. And I sat up there and heard the Democrats say they were going to run a white woman against the senator for the open Senate seat. Don't ask me his name. I don't like him. But because she had military service, and they said the fact that she had military service, she would draw in some of the conservatives because the black men she was running against did not have military service.
Wait,
even though he was a lawyer.
I was going to
Even
go
though-
quickly ask you, Nichelle. You said that Eric, was it Johnson? You said
Yeah.
he cussed out the Democratic Party. What was that over?
Ooh, he said it did not make any sense for the Democrats to hire someone, a convicted felon, to hire people. She'd been convicted of voter registration fraud, and they hired her to do teaching sections. She was a paid position, not a lot of money, depending on how you look at it, but they were paying her $40,000 to teach people how to register people. And it's like, do you guys understand how that looks?
Yeah,
And
that looks stupid.
The Democratic Party.
I see why he did.
They sent him a cease and desist letter. You sent a lawyer who graduated from University of Pennsylvania Law School a cease and desist letter for voicing his opinion on public concern.
I think the thing about it is this, but I don't care about the Republicans or Democrats anymore. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't really give it. I don't give a shit about that. I don't give a shit about them. Only thing I care about now is survival. That's it. That's all. That's all that come down to it. What is going to be beneficial right now? And honestly, I mean, who's more for what I want right now? That's honestly what it's about. Like other people are getting shit right now. Texas right now. When I brought up about the blue zones, and everybody's talking about, hey, well, the earth and fossil fuel. Right now, those people in Texas right now, I don't give a shit. But they're like, yo, we were told one thing, and now we're seeing something totally different.
They didn't lie. They didn't lie. They told us to our face it was going to be a partnership between business. It's called the Blue Zone. Blue
like a public-private one of those public-private partnerships between the government and private business, kind of like toll roads and stuff like that.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. You know that is
That sounds a lot like communism.
Limited government. That's not limited government. When the government starts partnering with businesses, you're getting into the primary definition of what Mussolini called corporatism.
Well, I think the argument that literally comes from it when people make that argument is they're trying to basically subcontract out things that government normally does or vice versa.
How's that working?
It's actually worse than that. It's worse.
But the thing about it is the businesses actually fund the politicians. So
the businesses fund the politicians, and the politicians fund the projects. That I'm sitting up here on the Arlington side looking at the stadium. We had a perfectly good stadium. The stadium had been built in 1995. They said, we can't use the Rangers Stadium. We need to do a $200 million bond to bring in Arlington Live, which is a group of, forgive me for saying it like this, a bunch of Jews. They're backed by the Seminole Indians. They were able to break down gambling in New Jersey and move it to New York. So they brought them to Arlington because Arlington is right in the middle of Fort Worth and Dallas that have the Trinity River, but are losing billions of dollars to Oklahoma and Louisiana for gambling. So what do? You do the Trinity River Project. You build up the Trinity River. You make big bridges in Dallas so it looks like a boat could pass up under it. You do the bridge to nowhere in Fort Worth where it looks like boats can pass up under it. Then you can put river gambling in Fort Worth and Dallas. And Arlington.
Aren't y'all supposed to get a river? Aren't y'all supposed to get a river boat for gambling now? Aren't y'all supposed to be starting with some gambling shit over there?
Grand Prairie already has
Good job, Texas. Good
Look,
job. Y'all get
Grand
riverboat
Prairie,
gambling.
we already have horse races. It costs $3 to get into the horse races, and it was free for the kids. So my kids can pick out some winners. They're good at horse racing.
I live 20 minutes from a horse racetrack.
So
we got one in Lamar, Texas. Also got a horse racing thing or whatever.
Yeah, one of the things, if you want to look at how Texas works, look at a council called the North Texas Council of Governors. They are the shadow government.
That sounds like so badass right now. But the thing about it is in reading,
like the Illuminati and shit.
I know, but it sounds so cool.
Wait, for Nichelle, for the whole state though, North Texas.
Houston has its own regional. It's North Texas Regional. I deal with them a lot, but I know Houston area has one as well.
Okay, in your area, I got you. Because North Texas is like Plano, Frisco, all of that.
But understand this, like I said, when I went over this before, Austin, Texas, the Electric Reliability Council of Texas, that means they're covering everything, has been directed by the state of Texas to correct the price of energy in order to reflect on the scarcity of supply caused by the winter storm. Now, when I was talking about this earlier, this is why I wish people would. It's like we're backtracking, but literally, some people are getting power, other people are not getting power. They get to choose, like Nichelle and D. Darrell just said. Hey, some areas are getting it, other people they're just not getting it. They're just like, hey, well, we'll tell y'all when y'all can turn it on, but we'll tell you right now to turn it off. But right now, they're not getting equal distribution of power and resources, and that's making it hard. If people are doing whatever they have to do, whether it be burning trash, burning stuff in their house, which God knows they shouldn't be doing.
Exactly.
But they're doing whatever it takes. They were told that, hey, if you switch over to this more efficient, this is why when people think I'm using talkable, I'm not. But I'm saying that if you were told that if you use this type of power source and it's more fuel efficient, and for D and Nichelle that are there, and they're like, well, if this is more fuel efficient, then why don't we have power? You know what I'm saying? That's like saying that I have a light bulb, but the light bulb doesn't actually burn as long as the older light bulb used to burn. So why did I buy this light bulb and I'm still sucking? Like I'm not doing better.
There's going to be a lot of lawsuits that come out of that. If you're talking about some people getting power and some people not, when you start looking at damages and stuff, there's going to be all sorts of losses. You're going to be busy, Nichelle.
It almost sounds like they sold that on purpose just for this to happen.
Yeah, it's going to have to be this on purpose. Because
that rolling blackout happened too in California, so they do that when power.
Good luck getting that lawsuit going. Good luck getting that one going.
So.
I mean, don't get it confused. We have rolling blackouts when it's 110 degrees, 112 degrees. You can go outside.
Listen,
you guys are still burning coal for your energy.
Nope.
The issue is going to be in the next few days, weeks. I mean, there are things that people didn't think about. That 100 car wreck, that was huge. It made national news. That same day, there were, each city had 50 to 30 car accidents, major car pileups, 9 cars, 10 cars, 20 cars. Those just didn't make the news. So a lot of people are off work because of that. They had to change policy in the Tarrant County court system that if the schools are closed, but due to inclement weather, the courts are closed too.
Yeah. My company, who I have coworkers, they actually closed the facility, which is it's unheard of. I've never heard of us closing a facility.
You got to understand, like, here's the thing about it. Like, understand this. Like, for those who have stayed up north, before the wintertime actually started to set in, what did they start doing? They start salting the roads.
Right, yeah. Salting. Exactly.
But now you got to understand, that is a state procedure or really the county literally let you know on the news in your county. This is why I say locally. Hey guys, around such and such time, they're going to be out. You know this trailer. You know this, Mike.
Yeah, around
They're
here
going to
they
be
actually make each individual city pay for
right
that shit.
now. They let you know they're going to be out salting the road. That's a local thing that they start informing the people. So you know, hey
And
guys, if you're on the road, understand this road is going to traffic's going to be bad because they have to salt the road.
Especially,
Texas did not
But
do that.
don't
and think
forget,
especially if
about
they
our main
double up
concern in
salt
Texas,
trucks.
our main concern in Texas is the heat on the roads. Our main concern is the heat
Right.
on the road. So we have a substance on the road, like the lady said. We have a substance on the road that retards water and heat because the last thing you want is to be driving next to a semi truck whose tires get overheated.
That's
Yeah, I
bad.
Hello?
got those.
Yep.
Yeah, you
But
got
see,
those roads.
think about what you said, BMT. Think about that's why I said I seen the Weather Channel like 2 weeks ago say that the polar vortex that's normally over the Arctic Circle is going to come down and start rotating around the entire United States. They
Yeah.
said that, and it's going to last for a week.
Okay,
That's what they said.
did you not notice that
And what I'm saying,
Texans still don't believe COVID's real?
Texas
well,
don't.
well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
They ain't the
That's
only
why I
one.
was talking
But
about the culture because it's like people. Somebody should have told
that's on the
guys
leadership.
down there, like,
Even if
listen, okay, yeah, we're gonna
But
send
that's
you
why I
some
said our
supplies
leadership
because this is going to happen.
our leadership is not that educated. That literally, I sit up there and listen to an OBGYN that's elected to city council get on Facebook and curse people out for putting water in their bathtub. One bathtub. They said, people stop putting water in your bathtub because you're decreasing the water pressure. And I'm sitting there going,
Say
doesn't
what?
everybody take a bath at least once a day? So filling the bathtub up once a day is going to reduce the water pressure. Dude, stick with OBGYN, please. He did
Maybe
not,
she don't take a bath.
right. He didn't
That's
have
one of
sense
the
enough.
as somebody who likes to prepare for things. That's one of the first things that I would do. Being that I have two bathtubs, if I knew there was a potential for a power outage and the water to go down, I would fill one of my bathtubs up with water.
Right.
But again, you gotta understand. You understand. Listen, that's why I'm trying to show y'all, and this is why I'm glad everybody did come, but I'm also like, I wanted to make it, where it's not about a political side because right now, and you're hearing it from D Darrell in the show, like right now, these two already know. And listen, there's going to be some serious changes. Like doesn't matter. Like both sides already know there's going to be
It's
some
already
changes.
happened.
Yeah, they're already kicking. They're already like told, and they've already been kicking people out of political seats in Texas.
but
Like,
I was gonna ask D Darrell and Michelle, outside of them not opening shelters and them putting tickets on people for being out for non-essential purposes, are there any other things you all think local government failed at?
Everything.
Oh.
I think that local government failed at as far as educating people how to
Right.
handle this type of weather, because we got to understand, we don't get, particularly in like the Houston area down south, we don't really get weather like this. We don't have a true winter. We don't have 18-degree weather. This is not something. See, we got to understand the culture as far as the weather here. This is not typical weather for us. So when you got these people from other states in the Northeast and so forth saying, well, they should have did this and you should have did that,
right.
and all these other, we don't for within the culture of Texas, we don't deal with that type of weather. We culturally are not prepared for that kind of weather because that's not typically what we deal with on a year-to-year basis.
And economically
So of
speaking,
course,
let's be practical. How many of us would go out and buy a $500 coat or $300 coat because
yeah,
it might get cold?
Right.
exactly.
Dita, I don't want you or Michelle to feel like we're judging. That's why I started out
No,
the show saying that,
we're
hey,
just explaining.
we're not here judging. That's why I want
Oh
to let
no,
people.
no,
That's why I
no,
want to
no.
let people know that, like when they were saying, like, hey, well, the governor this or and y'all were saying that, hey, Texas does not listen. They roll to the beat of their own drum, just
They
Yeah,
like
do.
how. So this is why I'm like, you can't tell the Texans of all people, how they run their state, because they do not run it how we run how other people might think that they should be running. Like they
So
have no
one
problem.
thing I have an issue with me personally. As a conservative, I have an issue with this because the same people that run around and say back the blue, were literally on my page saying it's not the government's responsibility. You sound like a liberal because you think it's the government's responsibility to keep your electricity on.
Wait, people
Oh
really
yeah,
said that?
If
Wow.
yeah.
if you don't
I
mind,
said,
I mean, and
I'm
this is just
sorry.
from the if this is just from the outside looking in, it seems to me like this is more of a corporate interest issue as
Yes,
far as
How is
as
that?
far as your taxes go, and the whoever's lobbying towards your guys' elected officials, they're actually taking all the tax money and giving that back to them rather than actually taking care of the needs of the taxpayers themselves.
very much so.
I'm going to have to disagree with that. I think this is a matter of the fact that as far as preparation, they didn't take the precautions that were necessary, and they didn't utilize, again, going to the infrastructure and making sure they had things in place from a state and local level. And
Well,
like
that
the
would
chef
that
talked
would
about, they don't believe in certain things. They underplayed how this was going to happen, and this is the results of it.
and that's why I say that I believe that this is a corporate interest thing, honestly, because that's how you get that. They're taking money that they're getting from the taxpayers in the state, and rather than using it to prepare for things like this, they're taking that money and they're actually giving money and incentivizing these corporations for their donor dollars for when these people were campaigning. You know what I'm saying?
And
Rather than actually,
you'll see Texans doing things like, "Oh, great, we're going to subsidize, the latest move of Toyota to Frisco, and we're going to give them $10 million, and they're going to hire 145 people." Come on now.
But I mean, isn't that one of the main drivers for job creation outside of the oil and gas industry? Because everyone's been happy about like Oracle and Elon Musk relocating there.
Now, but
And
Renaissance,
and
that's
Amazon coming to Houston.
right, and so that's why the government is taking this like, yo, we have to get Texas back online.
Yeah, it
When
looks
you
real bad.
when you're putting
Yep.
all your eggs in one state and it goes down and like, oh shit, we put all the stuff that we need in our country in Texas. What was the who would have saw that we gave Super Mike all the money in the capital and Super Mike happened to croak but forget to tell us the code to the bank. Now we're shit out of luck.
But
Like,
honestly, that's the other side of the coin that Trailer was getting at, is that may be one of also the biggest catalysts for change.
right.
Is some of these big corporate interests are going to be like, oh wow, this looks like a shit show. We got to fix this, even if it's not in the interest of the average citizens.
Well, you also
And the reason why I say
understand.
that is you got to understand most of the time when your elected officials are running for office, look, they're constantly lobbying. They're what you see going on in Texas right now and a lot of these other southern states that are having this issue. Everybody else might as well, look at this as a model for something that everywhere should prepare for.
put it
Really,
like
honestly.
now put it like this, and I'm show y'all because one of the things about it was this: when it came to COVID, did all the states do the same thing for COVID, or some
Nope.
states were like, "Fuck that, I'm doing whatever the fuck I want." And
No,
some
but that was some of the criticism though.
but understand that's how America has worked since I've known it. Like literally, this is the only country. This is the only place in the world where literally self-governing entities do whatever the hell they want and literally say, "Fuck you, my leader or
But
president.
that's
I'm
only
not
to a
going
certain
to
degree, though.
Oh hell no, bump that because when literally when they
Well,
were saying
you can't
when
say
they were
that, man, because if they don't follow certain federal guidelines, they lose a lot of federal subsidies, they lose a lot of federal kickbacks, a lot of federal welfare.
watch this. Watch it. When when doggone California, when Trump said we were coming to get the illegals, what did the Californians do, or what were they doing?
Protect
They were
them.
they were
Sanctuary
protecting them.
state.
Protect them, but that's when Trump said, "Well, fine, protect them.
Illegals.
We'll take your money from you that you get from us."
Listen, they were like, okay, go ahead. You know, we'll push back. And no matter what,
And
ICE was like, we can't do shit.
and
Like,
then that messed up a lot of money because they were building that super train, and that money that he took from that super train, it stopped the Delta Tunnel with water for the central part of California, and it stopped the high speed rail that they were building in mid. I mean, literally, they got like 100 miles of it up, and it stopped it cold. So yeah,
so you,
that,
so
that
like
hurt.
so like I said,
perfect
like
example of state taking back their powers.
Nichelle, what do
No,
you think
I'm just
about the super train that's supposed to be from Houston to Dallas? I know they've been talking about that. Do you know anything about that as far as the status of that?
I want a super
yes,
train.
it is scheduled to be on time. That all of the legal challenges have so far, some of them are on appeal, but they were not able to stay the implementation of the plan. Let me tell you how big this is.
When is it supposed to be developed, like an operational
It's going to be
by plan?
huge.
2022.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, and are they already started building?
Yeah, it's on
Okay,
schedule. It is
okay.
on schedule. You can pre-order your tickets.
What
I
is it
wonder.
like? What an hour or something to from Dallas to Houston
About an
on the
hour.
train?
Driving 5.
No, no,
Driving
on
is
the
5.
train.
Less than 2. And you don't have to go through the same security precautions that you would have to get on the plane.
And you got to understand that's big news. And like I said, like when this is where you start making deals with. If I don't have to, if I can make a deal with corporate, and corporate can honestly fund and bail and take care of me, I don't have to deal with government, because then I can offer out like, hey, I'll tell you what, we don't want to follow the government. Well, we got the money. We'll fund your school. We'll fund your stuff, but you have to do X, Y, and Z. Like, use our power, use our stuff, use our thing. And when you yeah, exactly, and when you
Now,
play
They're the
and when,
government, the new government.
so
now
That's
and
the
so when you do that, and I'm showing y'all that when you do that, because mind you, that's Sterling Electric, which I believe, like me and Michelle talked
Sterling
about, and
Solar.
Sterling Solar, and I know Didero, you probably know about them also. They're all over. I was like, damn, they're all over goddamn Texas. Like, so it's like y'all gave up one goddamn motherfucker, and now you got this new dude, and he's like, well, shit, I don't live there. I gave y'all the panel. I thought y'all knew how to use them motherfuckers, and
now,
now it's not even working out how they wanted it to. So
What's
now,
so bad? What's so bad about Sterling Solar is that politics did come into play because I worked for Sterling Solar. I was a consultant, and they had, hey, gotta make some money.
you
Yeah, you
boys
got to
have
do what you got to do.
y'all have have y'all no conscience these days? Jeez.
Sterling.
You got to make a
Trump,
living.
what you were
All
talking
right,
about.
I'm sorry, Michelle. Go ahead, carry on.
No, I give everyone depth. Sterling Solar to me was the most incredible company because they used an open patent, the Sterling combustion engine.
That sounds pretty nice.
Yeah, the Sterling combustion engine used the heat from the sun to create steam, and the steam powered that, and they could store it in batteries. If the sun wasn't out, they had double source. They had the solar sun that they had put on batteries, and they had the steam that could heat the thing back up again. It was kind of interesting. But the thing about it was, SIPNIM, my bosses, the CEOs, I was just a interim GC. My dumbass was all like, support Megan for governor, support Megan for governor. Megan lost. Brown won, and he terminated the contract with Sterling. Sterling went into bankruptcy. The new group brought him out. They thought they wanted that patent, and the laugh was on them. Yo, we used open source. Okay? That's one of the things I get consulted on a lot is open source material, whether it's technology or patent. And so they were shit out of luck. But So what they provided to Texas was substandard. It did not have the rotations. I mean, a lot of things have to do with if the state is going to do something this important, don't go with the lowest contractor. Don't do a no bid contractor. They sit up there and say, we want requests for qualifications. What they really want to know is how much are you willing to put on my campaign for me to support you as the
Wait,
primary
wait. So Nichelle, you're blaming this on the solar?
Wow, that's crazy. That's deep
No,
though.
I'm not
That's
blaming it
good,
on
good
the solar.
information.
I'm blaming it
No,
on the government officials that did no bid or low bid contract on something that important. Instead of doing
yeah,
requests for proposals, they
Yeah.
did they either did no bid
Well,
contract.
it's your criteria. You need a best value contract, or even basically what can perform versus the
That,
Yeah,
lowest cost.
that's what
yeah,
lobbying
that's
was.
what I'm saying. That when they
They,
did the request for qualifications, it was obvious that they were more interested in the PR they could get from it than they were with it
see,
actually functioning.
Yeah, because
that
you can
speaks
you
to
can
the infrastructure. That
yeah
speaks to
because you,
the overall culture of the infrastructure issues. Because if you look at the other states in that same area that are experiencing the same or similar, uh, uh, you know, acts of God or what have you, I just don't see the same level of distress.
well
Have you guys
well
ever heard
well
of,
also I was
speaking
going to
of
say
infrastructure, have you guys heard of Cinta, the corporation formerly known as Cinta?
Yep, I've heard
Cinta.
no.
of that before.
Okay, Cinta was awarded all these government contracts to build roads throughout the state of Texas. Guess why they were awarded that contract?
They were related to someone in high in government or
but they
knew
lobbied
somebody.
PR.
the
The
government.
PR, the largest minority contract awarded in the state of Texas for road infrastructure. Guess where Cinta is from?
India or something.
India, India,
Spain.
India.
Spain. They
Oh,
are a
Spain.
Spanish
Okay,
owned company, but they call
and
them
a
the largest minority.
minority. See,
Let-
But,
Wait a minute,
but
Well,
look,
let's not
the,
check
but thing is,
Spain,
they
but in
lobbied for the
Europe.
job.
but Nichelle, let me ask you this too, and D. Durrell, do you all think also what I've read is that Texas has been growing so fast and the leadership has not kept up with the population growth to modernize the infrastructure and make the appropriate changes, sort of under investing a lot of things?
Is
I kind of
45
agree
still
with
being
that.
worked on in Houston? Aren't they still
Huh?
working on 45?
Yep, and
Whoever's from
I-10,
Houston.
and I-10, and we just built a new toll road from Brazoria County to Harris County.
They've
So
been widening I-30 in this between Dallas and Fort Worth since I hate to say this, I'm 50 years old. They've been doing that since I was 8 years old, and they still ain't got it
yeah,
wide.
and I have I have business interests in Dallas too. I have a business in the near the Galleria, so I've seen the steady uh I guess they working on things and so forth because actually I'm actually looking forward to if they actually complete this project because it'll make it easier for me to do business, from Houston to Dallas. So I, we do have a strong population increase. A lot of that is
Yeah,
not just it's
DFW is one of the fastest growing areas in the like top five in the country.
but a lot of people move to Texas. We got to look at the fact that a lot of people from other states move here on top of the illegal immigration that we have. That it's a lot. So
Yeah,
that
and they
need
were just speaking more to like. I know you all were talking about roads taking forever to be widened, but they were just talking infrastructure in general. Of
health. I'm
these are
talking
things you
hospitals. I'm
you
talking
need to just
hospitals,
improve it that
schools.
they haven't done.
Yeah.
Now, question now, D. What is going forward going to be the direction for a lot of I mean, because I know after this, and I'm praying that everyone, that y'all loved ones and everybody has a safe journey through this. But what's going to be the direction? I know we know there's going to be some changes after this. It can't be overlooked. Like it can't be overlooked the stuff that's happened. So what's going to be some of the changes that y'all are looking at from
No,
here? None.
none,
Jesus Christ.
none. I'm sitting up there looking at it like this is going to be the good old boy network, whether you're, no matter what city you live in, it's a lot of pay to play.
But
I was really optimistic when the Democrats took over the judicial system in Houston. But again,
But
it's
Nichelle,
wonderful.
you don't think the corporate interests are going to see this and say, "Hey, we can't have our headquarters or something with a state, with this type of incompetence going on. There's got to be some level."
Shit.
Let
Yeah,
me say it like
Elon
this:
Musk is not going to have that.
Who was the gentleman that
Stop!
said? Who
Elon
was the
Musk ain't
gentleman?
gonna have that shit.
Wait a
That
minute.
was not.
I mean,
Right.
if his facility is affected, that's why he left California. Is he
I don't
felt
see
like,
any
Yeah, but he
significant
left
change occurring.
California. Notice the difference. Electricians in Texas, $22 an hour, $77 in California.
yeah,
That at the end of the day, your bottom line, your overhead cost, if you can get cheaper labor in Texas, and I tell people all the time, I'm laughing, that my little cousin, she was so excited. She got a job making $11 an hour.
now
She could
granted,
possibly,
it is a lot cheaper to live in Texas. Not that I'm saying that that's still a big difference in pay, but it is a lot cheaper to live
Yeah,
in
the
Texas
standard.
versus California. Like, I
she
mean,
has a manufacturing job where she's excited she makes $11 an hour. So can you imagine if they raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour in Texas? When
Exactly.
the plant is one of those, they do like Stouffer's, frozen food and all that. So she spends her day in a refrigerated building, cold as hell, has to wear the jacket, has to wear the mittens and gloves and all that other crap. So when the minimum wage goes up to $15, they got about 200 workers that are happy at $11 because that beats making $7 at McDonald's, 7.25 or 7.50, whatever it is.
now
And they
that
get
that is crazy that you have, because I'm essentially, these jobs sound like that they are minimum skill, and that's crazy
They
that
are
an
minimum skill.
electrician who actually has
Well,
some level of skill and goes to school and is licensed only makes 22 an hour. I'd imagine
See,
that should be more like 30, 35 at least.
see, that's the thing
I
that's
interviewed for a
actually.
job as I interviewed for a job. It was been about 10 years ago. I interviewed for a job as assistant city attorney, and they said a lot of people would be happy to make $35,000. I interviewed with the DA's office, and they said a lot of people would be happy to make $50,000. And I'm sitting
damn.
there looking at these people like,
They crazy.
I
Well, I
made
was gonna say, you said you went to
$95,000
Duke
coming out
Law.
of law school.
I was about to say you went to Duke Law, right?
No, I went to Duke undergrad and GW Law,
Oh yeah,
George Washington.
GW just as expensive.
God
So
damn,
Yeah.
boy. Y'all, this is why people be bragging about going to Texas and shit and in Atlanta and Georgia and stuff. I be swearing, man. Like y'all.
but
God
yeah,
Look,
I
damn.
was gonna say, like, once you come out of law, you can't take a job that, like, that's how much you talking about, $30,000 a year. That's a semester of law school tuition.
Now the thing about it. The thing about it is this. That's why I'm trying to say, like, we're looking at these contingencies of stuff that are happening to these people. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, like D Darrell in the show, they're not no lower, talking point people. These are highly educated people that are seeing the climate control of, like, call it, well, Democratic or Republican or whatever. They're saying, like, ain't shit going to change. The good boy system, the ironclad old money is here to stay in Texas. The ironclad old money is in and I just now I was texting one of my friends. They were saying certain parts, depending on the area, the district, if it had money or not, or depending on what location, they never went off. They never lost their power.
that's why I'm staying at my daughter's house. She lives up here in the north section of, they think it's Arlington, but it's not. But we're up here in the north section where the mansions are. I can look out and see the Trinity River from her apartment.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know
You know,
exactly what you're talking about. I was in that area. I had to do some stuff. I have a contract with Department of Family Protective Services that's located in Arlington. I passed through there uh
Yeah,
last summer.
I was gonna say in the show, I've been out there. I don't think to Arlington,
It's
but
nice.
I've been to Fort Worth. I've been to what's the stockyards in downtown.
yes,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been there because my company's near there, so we always stay at one of the hotels down there and stay in that area. It's nice down there.
Yeah,
it's a great tourist
Cedar
area.
Hill is
But
nice too.
if you go 2 blocks back, you're in what we call Norte, the barrio, Norte.
Right. Right.
And they were the first ones to lose water today.
Like I said, there will be changes. From like
No,
I
no,
keep trying
no.
to.
Wait a minute. Let me say this real quick before we say there's going to be changes. Redistricting is this session. Redistricting is this session. So the only thing they're going to do is sit up there and go, okay, Democrats, you get this number of seats. How do you want to draw the map? Let's
Right.
maximize the minority section that we know is going to vote for the Democrats. We promise we won't even run a Republican in that area.
It's gonna be a
That's
lot
a
of
guarantee.
gerrymandering.
Oh, oh. Have y'all seen Mark Vesey's district? Mark Vesey's district goes from the hood in the Fort Worth area, goes through the middle section, the working class section of Arlington, through the hood in Grand Prairie, back down to the hood in Dallas, and butts right up to Eddie Bernice's district. It's a snake, like I don't know what. And I'm not going to talk badly about Mark Vesey. I've known Mark Vesey since we were kids. His wife was the one who clerked with a very rich Moncrief, who's over the North Texas Council of Governments now. So whatever Mark Vesey does, he does because the man he took the seat from tells him, I'll keep the political contributions coming to a poor black man from the hood as long as you do what I tell you to do when you go to DC. I'm not speaking bad on him, but that is the way.
That's the
what they
game he
tell
playing.
every politician.
I was
If
gonna say
you-
I'll never forget the politicians in South Dallas who got into the fight in the Christian radio station.
Like I said, like again, this is why I try to have these conversations, but I know we're rearing it to 3 hours, and and I wanted to. I'm thankful for Nichelle. I know we're gonna have another talk on this later on the gerrymandering behind the curtain, where people are thinking that, oh well, it's the Republicans doing it or it's the Democrats doing it. Like y'all don't
Both
like
sides.
exactly. Like, and that's why I wanted to bring. That's why I'm glad D and the show both showed up and like, yo, like y'all not seeing what's going on in our house personally. Like these people. And the thing about it is, really, the people are suffering. They don't give a shit anymore. Like what we're talking about here on social media, they're seeing real time. Like, yo, like I'm just right now. Like Abbott, that motherfucker's gone.
Yeah,
Some of the people don't matter what y'all say. They're getting rid of these motherfuckers. Like before
Darrell, is it bad for you? Because I know Fort Worth is bad. Is it bad down in Houston too, or is it just mainly concentrated in Fort Worth?
It's bad in the middle. To me, inside the loop in Houston is real bad. Again, people are talking about the distribution of the electricity has been very suspect. I actually live in Pearland, which is actually a suburb. Well, I'm in the area where I live is actually in Harris County, which is where Houston is, but it's also a part of Pearland that's in Harris County. Just
So you
to
were
lack a
pretty
better
lucky.
word. So even though I pay taxes, I pay my property taxes to Harris County, but I pay my like utilities and so forth to Pearland as far as water and garbage and all that different stuff. So I'm
But
kind of in
people in
between.
Houston are dealing with power and water being out like Fort
Yes,
Worth, are
yes,
they?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
that's what I'm saying. Like, listen,
And
like,
right now they're saying something about the water is contaminated.
yeah,
They're saying that it has some type of bacteria, whatever, and it's not.
yeah.
It's not.
Because if the
It's not.
power's down,
Yeah, it's not
the
good enough
treatment plants are gonna be messed up too.
to
Yeah,
drink
it's not
or
pumping right.
anything of that
But
sort.
y'all know who's on the what do you call it? Environmental Protection Agency? Eddie Bernice Johnson of Dallas. And do you know that the city of DeSoto puts on their website, our water, we know our water smells like rotten eggs. That's in her district. They put it on their website. So you
Wow.
know if you move to DeSoto, your water is gonna smell like rotten eggs. And
Why?
contact Eddie.
It's
They
funny.
get their water from Dallas. I
It's
don't know.
funny.
It's been 10 years we've been talking about the water in Dallas. It stinks. It smells like rotten eggs in DeSoto. I had a client that owned a restaurant, and it was like,
See,
ooh.
But see, that's this type of stuff. If you're going to be like Texas and attracting all these businesses, to me, that's what's going to have to change because you can't have businesses, and especially trying to be serious on an international
But
or a
it's
national scale, and
no
have that
state
type of stuff
taxes,
going on.
brother. As long as they have no state taxes, the businesses are gonna come.
They're gonna come. They're gonna
They're
come. Like
coming.
that's
There's
just
no
They're
state
going to
taxes.
come. We
that's
have land. We have land. We have a lot of resources. They're building on top. The new
exactly
thing is a company called Racetrack out of Fort Worth that's moved over here to Arlington. You
The
guys in
gas
Houston,
station.
it's called the Racetrack. It's
Oh,
Racetrack Properties. They run Fuzzy Tacos. Fuzzy Tacos is a commercial enterprise. If you ever
Right.
heard of any, but Jason's goal is to turn all these places, it's all this unused land in Texas, as he says. He
Right.
says in places like Arlington and Dallas, he wants to do everything where it's retail on the bottom, office in the middle, and residential on the top. That way we can cut down on greenhouse emissions because everyone can work and play exactly where they live.
not to
that's
mention
why
the commutes, because I'd always remember when I was out there, I'd be like, dang, it took me 30 minutes and it felt like I went forever. It was so spread out.
Yeah,
Yes.
That's
it
why
is.
I'm not used to.
Yeah,
you,
Houston is definitely spread out. Like
Yeah.
I can go from one place, it take me an hour to get there. Like, say for instance, if I was going from uh, South Houston to like 1960 Spring area, that's a good 45 minutes easy.
And you
Or
know,
if
my
I'm coming
favorite thing
from
is when people come into Houston, they go, "Oh, Nichelle, we'll come up to Dallas and visit you." I'm like hell, you will. That's a 5-hour drive.
yeah,
like that's the thing about it. Like the main thing about it is I'm just glad you guys are safe. You know, we definitely don't want no harm to come towards a lot of you people. Um, I tell y'all, listen, man, these are the important conversations that we need to have on what's happening to our people. I know everybody wants to just talk about certain stuff, but these are the conversations that I am all for.
We
Everybody
need to
thinks
pay attention to gerrymandering, so we really do need to do a show on that. How people can stop it from happening. Pay
let,
attention.
yeah, Michelle, we'll have a talk on about that. But everybody swears up and down it's all sweet and shit, and you know what I'm saying. And surprisingly, I didn't see nobody ever talk about this shit. We're the only ones that have been talking about this, so I know that hell. Listen, y'all love y'all content creators, but y'all not one time ever thought to ask them, yo, man, like, how are you doing out there, man? How's your family doing out there? Like, damn. Like, I hate this for goddamn if Atlanta sink underwater or some shit. Like, damn, y'all wouldn't even know. Like, you got to ask these kind of questions on what's going on with am I my brother's keeper? Does that not hold any validity? Because right now, if you don't ask the question, other people will take advantage and seize the opportunity. Like, hey, since y'all in such a bad condition, like if you want, we can get you out of this, but at what cost? And right now, these people in Texas, they are in a state of like, hey, like, how bad do y'all want to get out?
Speaking of that quickly before you go, BMT, you said
So
my brother's keeper. I was going to ask them, Nichelle and D. Darrell, do you feel like the churches are doing anything?
that's not
nope.
He,
Churches
they
ain't
ain't
doing shit.
you ain't gonna get them to do shit like that. Like I said,
And
like
the bigger they
Oklahoma,
are,
the mega
the
church.
less they
No.
do.
Y'all know when they asked TD Jakes, why are you asking these people to donate money when they're struggling? He said the lights of the church got to stay on too.
exactly. Like, I don't know why y'all keep asking about the church. And listen, I am a Christian, but listen, man, if y'all still waiting for divinity
I'm not waiting
and
on divinity, BMT. It's just more of like I feel like if you got a church with that many people and that many resources, I saw what Joel Osteen did when
Exactly.
Hurricane Harvey hit,
Exactly.
and I'm like, you got all those resources, you can take these people's money every Sunday, but you can't solve some
listen,
basic problems.
if y'all
Man,
if y'all
Joel Osteen, that facility itself could have housed at least 50,000 people if they needed.
And he wouldn't even let
That
them in.
yes,
hey, they didn't pay tithes and offering. You know the rules. You didn't pay tithes and offering, you don't get in. So
exactly.
again, this is Texas is a business. It's about business. It ain't about nothing else, nothing more. Like I don't get
And
too
that's the
emotional.
truth. That's why I moved here
So
because it's
so
about business.
no, I'm not. Listen, bro. Listen, I get it. Listen, that's why, like I told y'all, like, listen, we done made our move on why we here at BMT are do these kind of talks now. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to those of my constituents in the clouds that were watching, because they were curious. They want to know what we talk about. I didn't want to make it about Republican or Democrat or anything because that's not the contention of what Nichelle or D. Darrell care about right now. Right now, they're like, yo, like, I'm paying taxes and shit. I'm still getting screwed over.
Yeah, and we pay a lot of taxes. I know I pay some high ass taxes. Pearland is like one of the highest in the state as far as fucking property taxes, and I pay mud taxes along with that.
Wait, you say mud? You say mud taxes?
Yes.
Yeah.
What
I
is
have to
that?
pay a mud tax along with that. A mud tax is basically a tax that is given to an unincorporated area where it's kind of a new commercial type neighborhood that hasn't been as far as a new area where they're doing a lot of new housing and building in and so forth. And this area where I'm at
So,
is built by the Meritage Homes, which is a housing building company, and they've only been around for like, as far as this area is only 5 years old.
so,
And
so what's
it's
their
up and coming.
justification behind the tax then?
It's up and coming.
the justification that is they tax a new area that's just starting out. That's only, I think it's a certain period of time. I don't know exact because I remember when I first bought the house, they explained to me why I would have to pay a 2% mud tax.
Well,
And then
Along
they're
with
gonna switch you over to a public improvement district tax, a PID tax.
exactly. And
now,
then I also have to pay my HOA fees, which is expensive also.
now,
So
here, hmm continue,
so
continue, continue.
it's a new area. Any new area that's being built, I forgot the amount of time. There's a certain period of time where they can charge the mud tax, and then it goes away. But this area here has only been here for like 5 years, so we got a little ways to go as far as that. But they usually do it in new areas where they basically cleared the land and they're building new homes in a new area and so forth. That's the main basis of a mud tax.
And
And then
I don't
once
know
they
the
get
rationale behind it, but I
once
know that they usually do the new areas that did not have any hot homes at all, any as far as any homes built in that area or neighborhoods.
uh,
it makes sense in one sense. I'm gonna say it like this
mhm.
because we just had we had a mall built where the forest used to be near my house. So
Right.
it was like, okay, that increases the wildlife that the locals have to capture because there were coyotes
Exactly.
running. There were skunks. It was all kind of wildlife
Yeah, we
running
have
around.
coyotes. We have coyotes and rabbits and all kind of stuff coming through here. Yeah, right.
Yeah. So it's just a matter of you've displaced the wildlife and it might go into the other cities like the nutria. Have y'all heard about the nutria up in Plano?
Mm-mm.
Now I haven't heard of that.
I've only heard of the feral hogs out in Texas.
No, nutria are big Louisiana rats. They look like
Oh, the
they look
nutria
like
rats.
otters.
Oh, the nutria rats. Yeah, I heard of
Yeah.
yeah.
They gotta
They
have somewhere to go. They have to have somewhere where to go.
they've gotten displaced and they are literally in the canals. They're in the Plano canals. They are people are finding them swimming around in their swimming pools. So
Oh,
Well,
hey,
you gotta think that. Listen, again, this is what happens in these type of development areas. Because see, in the Carolinas, like, yeah, we're rebuilding, but for us to rebuild, we have to find a location for certain wildlife because literally it's like, well, if we don't find a location, listen, you'll probably see a gator in Walmart parking lot, and we've already done dealt with that before quite a few times. Or certain animals that naturally are not there. Well, guess what? You move the swamp, you drain the swamp, and guess what? They got to go somewhere. So when you get rid of
Yeah,
one area, they
it's
got to
kind
go.
of
Yeah,
don't forget
it's
about
kind
the
of like
trees. You've cut down the trees, so now they have to get the CO2 levels adjusted.
right.
or
right.
you have places like Florida where alligators will show up in people's backyards, or you cut down some forest and somehow all of a sudden the wildlife like bears and stuff in some of these other rural areas will
Right.
start coming out of the forest.
Animals don't give a fuck about zoning. They're like,
Nope.
yo, I was here first. Y'all motherfuckers came here, so don't think I'm leaving. And listen, your ass will get in more trouble killing them than ever. That's the quickest way your ass to get done up. So like we know the area where we're looking at right now, they have ducks there and gooses there. It is you will do 3 months to 5 months in jail if you kill a goose or a duck.
In your
Wow.
area,
Yes,
they're actually enforcing that.
yes. It's
Oh
called,
wow.
the town is called Goose Creek, so they're not fucking around. They kill a duck or a goose. If they have ponds there, hell, if a duck comes in your backyard, close
E-
the door and leave the buck.
Even if it's in season, because I know you can get in big trouble for killing animals out of season.
Leave them alone. Call wildlife. Literally, hell, if try to be hit one with your car, you get more trouble killing a duck than killing a human being in my area. Like that's your ass. They don't play with you. That they will do you up. They will okay. They will look for you. Put your ass on the news. This Toyota, this Mercedes, this Benz, whatever, hit this car. We need to find this person tonight. That's where our tax dollars will go to. Finding that vigilante that hit that duck. So
That's funny you say that, just because like you were talking earlier about how the men in your town essentially deputized. So I figured they wouldn't, if people weren't with something like that, they'd just be like, nah, we're not enforcing that.
No, they listen. These woodsmen are serious about this shit out here. You know what I'm saying? They are really serious about that. Like I said, this is what happened. This is one of those things about different laws of the land, man. You go to one area like Texas, like you know what I'm saying. I've heard my cousin say crazy stuff, and I'm like, what? They do that? Yeah, this is Texas. This is how we get down. They're not joking. They're not playing around. They're that serious. So you gotta understand that's just the laws of the land. Um, like I said, Dieter, I hope that you keep us informed about what's going on. But I'm probably gonna ask about, hey, I know some people are asking, well, can they sue the government? Yeah, okay. Good luck with that one. Let me know how the lawsuits go for suing the government on this one. Like y'all gonna have a good time. Let me know how that plays out. And the other one is possibly on the mind state of people. We already know the people after COVID, they're mentally fucked up. I can only imagine what kind of stuff's gonna come out from people going through the snowstorm. I know they're gonna be doing some crazy shit. So
Yeah,
you know,
how are you going to give food to some of these people who were pretty much? I'll never forget seeing. I think it was during the summer, like they had lines in Texas that looked like for food lines right when COVID hit, and it looked like it was just the interstate with just like a wreck on the interstate, cars just backed up waiting to pick up food. So
it's just one of those things, man, where you just have to just pick and choose your struggle. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
That's just one of the things about it. But I don't want people to think that, hey, again, whenever I have certain guests such as Michelle or whoever my guest is, I want you to understand my guest has law. My guest has law. That's how I do things now. If my guest is trying to, if it's my job, I did ask the show, do you want anybody to come up here? If she would have said no, nobody would have been up here. But if I have it where I wanted the Texans to specifically speak about what's going on in their home, that's them. Y'all not going to overrule the voice of a Texan, not on what's happening to them and their family. That's not happening. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to y'all area, and if I were to do a story on y'all area, then y'all have that right. Y'all have that right. But if
he, go ahead, BMT.
no, I'm just saying, like, y'all gotta understand. This is the thing I don't understand. Y'all have it where when y'all talking to professionals, that is her job. Michelle literally is the attorney. I don't know that many people that have an attorney on their panel. That's literally her job.
Exactly.
That's her
People
job.
arguing with an attorney in our own field.
Like,
hey, you know how it goes in this space,
only
D-Rail.
on
People argue with you
YouTube.
all the time.
Only on YouTube. Like if when I call D Darrell to ask, hey D Darrell, I need you to talk with us about this. Y'all be killing me. Y'all be literally trying to argue with him. Like this is why we are going backwards. You don't ask the help. You don't ask for the help to come and then tell the help how to do their job. Like that's why you told them to come. If I ask for a Texan to tell me what's going on in Texas, that's literally why they're here. Oh, y'all didn't know about these counties. Y'all didn't know about these areas and stuff. They were calling out stuff that y'all could pretend like y'all knew. Y'all don't know what they do in there. They probably might name a back folklore law that y'all would know jack shit about. And what could y'all honestly say? That sounds made up. Look the damn thing up. It's actually the law. Literally in the state of South Carolina, it's a law where you could take your woman on the goddamn steps and beat her.
Yeah.
You would think that law was made up. It literally is a law. A man literally took a ruler.
Understand is they're handling things in Dallas different than they are in Fort Worth. They're handling things in Houston, I'm sure, differently than they're handling it.
And also you gotta understand, county commissioners have a lot of power.
Ooh, yes.
Have they activated the National Guard?
No.
Wait, do you all think they should? I would imagine you'd want to at this point.
This is Texas.
Wait, what does that? What does that mean, Michelle?
This is Texas. All
no. But the military's like really respected out there, right?
Federal. Yeah. Federal. No. Don't forget, we still want to keep our Confederate flag. Yeah, we wanted to keep our Confederate flags and our Confederate statutes. That literally there have been very public standoffs about keeping a statute. They don't even know the name of it, other than the fact it's our history. I mean, it is.
No, I just meant as far as like assisting with like whether it be, making sure people, going door to door, making sure people got food, making sure they don't have any sort of emergency. Like you said, the first thing they want to know when you run for office is that are you a veteran? So I figured this would be a time when people would be receptive to the National Guard stepping in and helping some of these places.
That's why I said the hypocrisy of Texas. They would literally tar and feather Greg Abbott if he called in the federal guard. National.
Right. Like I said, you got an easier chance, Renaissance man. I talked to a guy who's over there. If they were to say we're gonna go call the militia, you're like, wait, why not the National Guard? No, we're calling them militia. Mind you, these are local citizens. They would rather call militia some Chicken George and goddamn Petey, the dude who works at the barbershop. They will call them, mind you. It was not when they had that last hurricane, Katrina. It was not the guard that was watching the businesses in the towns of Texas. It were militias. There were militiamen doing that. Like just regular people out there with shotguns and just delivering their own brand of justice at the time. So that's what I'm saying. Like they are just back. I'm not gonna say backwards, but that's just how they play their rules. I mean, I can't tell them how to do it, but and I know someone's gonna say that's backwards as hell, but hey, y'all gotta admit that's what y'all be preaching about on these channels. Y'all say, hey, we need to do this, we need to go separate and do that. Well, shit, go follow Texas, go follow them. Shit,
the reason Texas did not want Obamacare is because in our Constitution, every county must provide a hospital that is free of charge.
Well, they ain't doing that shit.
That's why we have all those county hospitals.
Right.
So you already remember that shit. You remember what happened. Did we not have to just fight to keep a baby in the hospital?
Mm-hmm.
I want you to understand that.
She made the mistake of going to a private hospital in Texas, Cook's Children's Hospital. She turned 2. I'm so happy. But the private hospitals can turn you away. They told her you got 10 days to get to stepping.
Wait, you said a private hospital can turn you away?
Yes.
10 days. Yes. 10 days.
And they actually do it.
Yes.
And that was covered here on BMT. See, this is why we know we have to do our research. We had to cover the story to fight to keep a baby in the hospital. Shout out to Nichelle. Shout out to Nichelle did it. Shout out. Thank you for that. Information man. We did the story. Literally, the hospital was willing to kick a baby out to die.
Nichelle, but isn't Isn't that
No.
from because you're part of a profession as well? Wouldn't that be a violation of your oath as part of being someone in the AMA for in your case, the bar?
It may be a violation of my oath, but hospitals have a board, and the board said there's nothing more we can do for this child. The medical costs outweigh any potential benefit, so you got to go. You got 10
Right.
days to get out of here. And the to-go day was 5 o'clock on a Sunday.
Why y'all so cold in Texas? God damn.
Like I
Business.
said,
We are.
it's business. That's what D. Durrell said. It's
Well,
business.
you know what? You know what? I'm not here to judge. I love my two professional people. They're my brother and my sister. This is why I rock heavy with them. D. Durrell, Michelle, I love them. I'm gonna probably set up a talk for us to definitely talk about the gerrymandering of the states. Because a lot of people, I don't think they understand. I know a lot of stuff. What's going on, Black Torch? What's going on, brother? I'm glad you came through. I don't think y'all understand the intricacies of how powerful. That's why you're hearing it from two people. They ain't no penny pinchers on how powerful. When certain men and women sit behind closed doors, they ain't going nowhere. Y'all could think, well, this is the Republicans doing it. This is Democrats. No. These people are ironclad in. They're not going nowhere. They pick who they want in. They switch out who they want, and they say, hey, we're going to fund you. Where am I going to get the money? Don't worry. It'll be in your Cash App before 5 o'clock this afternoon. And that's how they work. They've been doing that for a long time in Texas. Trust and believe. We had a soldier. He's a lieutenant. And I asked him, why'd you join in the infantry? He said, well, my dad wants me to be a lieutenant. And then after that, I'm going back home to Austin, Texas, and I'm going to run for a seat in city council. And they're going to have me. I'm like, wait, so why not just do what you want to do? He said, that's not how it works. It's not how it works, Joe. Like, you get told where to go and where you maneuver. Like, D. Durrell is a man of means. They would pick him. Nichelle is a woman that can maneuver stuff in the behind closed doors for corporations. That's why they will pick her. These type of people are used to make things happen for like city council, town councils, legislation. These people have dinners all the freaking time. And I promise you, they're not going nowhere. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm thankful that we had this conversation. Renaissance Man, I'm glad you asked the question you do. You're always welcome. Shout out to Trailer Hood, Voodoo Ninja. Me and him have been working together. We've been collabing. I'm so happy I'm out of the fucking algorithm. I'm not coming back. I like these I like these conversations. I have to do these conversations because people deserve the right to know. Shout out to Renaissance. I remember you asking the questions. We were talking about this on some other talks, and I said I'm gonna do a solid. You definitely gave me the idea to talk about this. And shout out to Black Torch, and I said I'm gonna do a solid. So there are going to be some reforms of fossil fuel. How they're going to talk about that in green and all the other shit. Right now, fossil fuel is the only thing that's keeping them alive. So them coal mines, they might be getting opened back up. I can promise you, somebody's going to open up a coal mine before the end of this year. That shit getting opened back up. Like they're going to be some old billionaire going to be like, nah, fuck that. My grandbaby was coal. I'm turning on the coal mine.
I bet it's going to be a bunch of people or run on generators. Like if you want to either put a backup one in your house or like if you didn't have a gas one, I could definitely see people doing that as well too.
Oh, that'd be a good company to invest in right about now.
Yep.
Oh, hey, y'all want to know what stocks to go get into? Y'all better know. Those stocks are going to be jumping up. How they care about emission standards when 6 cruise ships produce more pollution than all cars on the planet. This is not including the ships that burn bunker fuel. Warrants, honestly, I don't know, man. I like, honestly, I think right now people are for individual, hey, I got to make it, man. Right now it's going to be hard to talk to those million. I don't know how many people are in Texas right now. Like, it's going to be hard to talk them
35 million.
It's going to be hard to talk them 35 million people out of fossil fuel after this. Like they're going to
Oh, the
be like,
electric cars. Don't forget the electric cars. They were putting all the infrastructure in for electric cars. That's going to be a joke now. No one
right,
trusts that they're going to honestly keep those things fueled up, generated, whatever you have to say. That in certain places they're running out of gas just for the generators. The generators cost about $1,300, so they're not for everybody. And you will need, from my understanding, 2.5 gallons of gas for every hour. You let it run for 2 hours at a time and 3 hours off. So you'll need a lot of gasoline, kerosene. It doesn't use quite as much butane or kerosene or whatever it's called.
like,
But it's
right,
going. It's time to do research. If you're going to go out and buy a generator, they're very expensive,
Right.
right.
and you have to have a place to put them so you do not get carbon monoxide poisoning. You
Yeah,
can't put them in the house at all. At
not even
all.
in your garage.
Yes.
Right. In the thing, and like I said, for me, y'all know, like if y'all seen my prepper shows, I have a generator. I have one, and like for a generator preparation, or just literally for them for prepping for like hurricane season is in around what, June there. It's around June. So I have 6 months to prep my stuff every year. Like I'm talking about, I have 2 to 3 other. I'm not gonna say I'm stuck, but like I put gas aside. That even if I say, "Oh man, I need gas," no, don't touch that. Like it's a discipline of having to. Oh, I tell people go by the pawn shop. They have generators at the pawn shop. Go by there sometimes. Sometimes, hey, y'all like getting all these credit cards. Put down money on a goddamn 1,300, on a 1,300 or $1,100 generator. Use it for the necessities to heat up, warm grandma and your feet. You know what I'm saying? Do what you got to do, or you know what I'm saying, and keep it easy. Get a little heating blanket. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff like these. If you do have family that are on um the base, I would ask them, hey, can I come on post? Come on, I can tell you right now, most likely some base or commissaries, they have their own power system grid. Y'all might be able to get some food or some stuff out of the PX or stuff like that. We've had to do that. There are people asking me, could I take them through the PX to go get groceries or toilet paper to get through COVID? You know what I'm saying? And like I said, just do what you can.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I'm saying?
And Michelle, I was going to quickly say, you said that'd be a good investment. I just looked. Generac stock was at 280 on February 11th. It closed today at 355. Yeah. So yeah, exactly. A lot of people been thinking exactly what you just said.
So you guys, like I said, I'm gonna hit you guys up later. I'll see you guys. I'm BMT with Renaissance Man.
Peace, BMT.
Peace, man. And attorney of the show.
Everyone.
This was a good show. We will set up a show talking about gerrymandering. We were supposed to talk about Trump beats the impeachment, but we'll talk about that another time. But we'll see you guys later. Peace. Y'all have a good day.
Love everybody.